something's different.
I'm changing.
I don't know if I like who I'm becoming.
Boyd, there are a lot of people wanting to know what happened down there.
Mom, where's Dad? Why isn't he back yet?
Tabitha, we need to talk. It means everything they showed us. It's real. I think they're doing it to make us afraid.
Well, then it worked. There's something ancient here. And it's feeding off our suffering, and it doesn't stop.
We're losing. We're running out of time, and we still don't know the goddamn rules. There is no way to fight back against those things. Everything we've done, every sacrifice we've made, none of us are going anywhere.
You think you're some kind of hero? You're a monster. Lord, please protect us in this dark place where evil roams so freely. This we ask in your name. Amen.
One way or another, the truth always comes out.
I would make sure it doesn't.
Some people still driving around, huh?
It's the worst part. And you still expect to find the road that takes you home. It's the part that's cruel.
Maybe we missed the sign for the highway.
We didn't miss the sign.
Where are we? So you're telling me I'm in a mystical town. I can't leave.
These woods are not safe after dark.
I can still hear those things whispering. We are stuck.
I'm gonna find us a way out of this place.
Everyone in this town has been exactly where you are right now. There are things you need to know about where you are. This is gonna be the worst night of your life. Do you believe in monsters?
Do you believe in monsters? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one, welcome all to another Saturday night edition of the Fromville Hour. And tonight we are going to be diving into some very fun topics this evening. Not only will we be continuing our revisit back to season 1 of From, which we've been doing over the last few weeks and has been pretty fun. I always love diving into these early episodes after a new season comes out. But we'll also be talking back and forth season 5 predictions as well. Last week we did Thursday we did kind of a mix of both, and it was kind of fun going back and forth. But that is what we're going to dive into tonight. We want to hear from you guys. What are some of your biggest predictions, especially ever since this recent promo video has come out from Harold Perrineau, talking about the top 5 most asked questions heading into season 5. Some of which are worthy of being on a top 5 list, and some of which are less worthy of being on a top 5 list, in my opinion. But we're going to be talking about that, and of course, diving into season 1, episode 5, Silhouettes, and hearing some of Jade's earliest theories on terms of what he thinks Fromville really is. He talks about quite a few things in this episode that you kind of really have to pay attention to, or you don't really pick up on them. A lot of very interesting things in terms of his kind of initial thoughts, his initial theories, what he thinks Fromville might be. The Klein paradox, the Hardy's paradox, things that he kind of mentions very subtly, but are there if you kind of are listening carefully enough. And of course, everything else that comes along with episode 5. So episode 5 is actually a pretty interesting one. We have quite a lot of stuff happens in episode 5. I kind of forgot. The first 4 episodes are kind of like seared into my brain. But episode 5 and 6, those are the two episodes that kind of always get jumbled together for me, where 7, 8, 9, and 10 are kind of more clear from Colony House Massacre on. But this one, rewatching this one was kind of fun because I kind of forgot some of the things that happened in this episode. But yeah, this was a good one.
Yeah, this was a good one. I went back and rewatched some of episode 4
Yep.
and I watched episode 5. And
Nice.
let me tell you, doing a rewatch, you get a lot. You
do.
definitely get a lot
You
now
do.
that we have more information.
Yeah.
I have a whole new theory. I have
Nice.
something that I completely missed. For 3 years, I missed it. I did not get it. I
Nice.
missed it. I didn't understand where it came from. And I
Yeah.
have a whole new theory. So I'm really glad that we're doing the
Mm.
rewatch.
Okay, I like it. I love hearing new theories, especially when we're this late into the game. You start to think, are there any new theories? But there are. We get surprised every time we do go live, or every time I put out a video. I'm seeing new theories still to this day, and that's always fun when we can still kind of muster up the creativity to come up with new theories after seemingly everything has already been theorized on. But there's always something new, a new angle, a new perspective, a new clue. There's always something new to dive into. And yeah, that's what makes these rewatches so fun. Super fun. And of course, we want to hear from you guys in the chat as well. If you guys did have a chance to go back and watch season 1, episode 5, what did you pick up on? What kind of new clues did you guys see? Did you form any new theories? Did you see anything in a different light this time? What did you guys see in your rewatch? And of course, what are some of your most asked questions heading into season 5? The whole video we got from Harold Perrineau, which was cool. It was fun. But again, some of those questions are not top 5 worthy, at least not on my top 5 list. So I definitely want to hear from you guys on that topic as well. What are your most the questions that you are just dying to hear answered the most heading into season 5? Because again, stuff like who is the boy in white, who is Martin, that kind of stuff I expect to be on a lot of top 5 most unanswered questions. But stuff like the golem and some of the other stuff that was on there, it wouldn't exactly crack my top 5. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys' top 5 questions heading into season 5 would be as well. All right, let's see what we got in here, shall we, on this fine Saturday evening. We got D-Wag in the house first. Wow, what is up, D-Wag? Good to see you, my friend. First in the chat, indeed. We got Jen, the teacher, in the house. What is up, Jen? Good to see you. I see Jenny of Old Stones is here. I see Diana is here. Welcome, Diana. Good to see you. Welcome. We got Catherine in the house. We got Sunflower in the house. We got Delilah in the house. I've missed doing this. I mean, we love diving into it. I mean, again, now that season 4 is over, of course, it does suck having to wait. And especially knowing that once season 5 does get here, it's the last. It is the end. From is coming to an end, ladies and gentlemen. And that sucks. I want to see the ending of the story. I very much want to see how they're going to stick this landing. But man, covering From has been probably some of the most fun I've had covering anything here on the channel. So yeah, I'm going to miss it totally once it's gone, but still holding out a little bit of hope for some kind of either From spinoff or something different that John Griffin and their writing team are going to step into next, even if it's something totally different from in a totally different universe. Definitely want to see what this crew is going to come up with next. I have to imagine if they're not going to do a From spinoff, they'll probably be doing some other kind of show with MGM. I have to imagine they'll be doing something.
And you know what? I still have hope that as they are filming and as they're getting the feedback of people questioning all these little details like the golem, all of these tiny little details that they're probably not going to have time to include in a 10 episode season, they realize we need more time. We could expand on this. And if MGM is willing to pay for more time so that they can expand their explanation of certain things, I'm still hoping that there would be a follow-up, some sort of From follow-up, either going back to
prequel,
all of these,
maybe
something like that where they could explain Victor's sister. They could explain all of these things that they told us out of the show, that they could have the budget to film that, right? Because they need a budget in order to be able to show us all of these things that we wanted to see. So if they could do a prequel, if MGM is interested in not letting them go and they realize there's a lot of stuff that we have been answering outside of the show, I'm still hopeful. I still hope that they realize that 10 episodes is just not enough. I'm sorry, but I do not believe that 10 episodes is enough for the questions that we have.
I mean, I have my concerns too. I'm right there with you. I do at times worry, not just for like all the answers, but like I've said in the past as well. This show has so many characters, like at times too many characters. And again, I think that's why we've seen some characters be vastly underdeveloped, like, you know, like your Bactas and Marielle's and characters like that. Randall in season 4, severely underdeveloped. Sometimes there's just not enough screen time for all of these characters. And as you mentioned, all of these mysteries need to get solved on top of all of these character arcs getting solved as well. So, I mean, I don't envy their position. They have a very tall task ahead of them heading into this 5th and final season with only 10 episodes to wrap everything up. It's going to be very difficult. And I think that'll give us a much better, you know, idea as to where they could potentially go from here once this series is complete and it's done and it's over. How much are they going to leave unanswered? How much will really be ending ambiguously? Will there be enough there for them to do another prequel, to do a sequel show, even depending on how this show ends? I think that'll give us, again, a much better answer if a prequel or a sequel is even possible once we see how much are they going to stuff into this series. Because I'm with you, PM. Again, there's still a lot that they're going to have to answer if they want to answer everything, of course. And I don't think it's possible to answer every little thing. I mean, I imagine they have all of the big stuff down, all of the real important answers that, you know, we need as an audience for the narrative to get completed. But in terms of some of the smaller ones, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they aren't able to get to every little tiny thing. They set up quite a lot in this show that they have yet to pay off. But yeah, I'm very interested to see how they're going to do it, though. I can't wait to see what season 5 is going to look like. Can't wait. But we also need to wonder about, you know, again, if they're not going to do something in From, whatever they do next, I have to imagine MGM is going to offer them some kind of deal, some kind of contract to develop some kind of shows for them in the future. You know, when a network has, you know, lands something like this, you often see them kind of offer these contracts to these writers to develop. You know, sometimes it can be more of an open blank contract where it's a contract in terms of we're contracting you to develop 3 shows over the next 15 years. And, you know, because we see writers and creators get deals like that all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if they get offered something in that realm where maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be From specific, but I wouldn't be surprised if MGM wants to lock down this creative team and give them some type of similar contract where we want to see you guys do another show or 2 shows over the next 10 years or so. Let us know what you can come up with. Because they struck gold with this creative team. So I have to imagine they're going to want to replicate that. So we'll see. We shall see. I would love a From prequel. Just, again, considering how much we get in this series, the history of From seems to be vast and you know, nearly endless in terms of how much stuff you could dive into, how many different time periods you could dive into. Whether you're going just a little ways back and doing like a Victor solo prequel show, a miniseries, a little Victor miniseries, a prequel miniseries for Victor. Would love that. I'm sure plenty of people would love watching that. Or going all the way back to the original timeline, doing a prequel show based on the original Jade and the original Tabitha. Could that be why we're not seeing a ton of the original Jade and Tabitha in this series? Because maybe they're planning on doing something with that. Again, it really all depends on how much we get in this 5th and final season, but I would love a prequel if it was under the same circumstances with the same creative team and they could kind of keep that same quality. Hell yeah, give me a prequel.
Yeah, I want it to be a comedy. The misadventures of the boy in white and Victor. Them trying to like survive it from, and them growing up, a coming of age,
Little
their
buddy duo.
misadventures. Yeah, a little
Like
buddy.
picture like kind of like we got with Dunk and Egg, but only set in Fromville
Mhm.
style, where it's the boy in
Yeah.
white and Victor. I would love
Yeah,
that.
them getting people killed and just being like, "Whoops, I guess we shouldn't have done that," and like
Yeah.
learning as they grow and
Yep.
all of these
Mhm.
things.
I would
Yeah, I
love
would
that.
totally be
That's
down.
actually a fucking phenomenal idea. Yeah, I like that. I like that little Dunk and Egg style comedy duo with Victor and the fucking boy in white.
Mhm.
Great. Let's see what else we got first. We got some jewels coming in from some of our favorite people in the world. Thank you so much, Ray, for the 440 jewels. Wow, thank you, my friend. UNC Alert. UNC Alert. Hell yes.
Unk.
Welcome.
Jeremy's an unk.
UNC.
Jeremy,
It
you're a
reminds me
total
of
unk.
a sports show that I watch where one of the nicknames of the host, his name is Unk. Really good sports show. Nightcap. Good stuff. But thank you so much, Ray. Very much appreciate you, my friend, for the 440 jewels. Thank you. We also have Xavier Anderson, my pal, who has just gifted us 10 jewels, and another 2 jewels with some silver stars and some gold coins along with it. Thank you so much, Xavier. Very, very much appreciate you, my friend. And thank you as well, Ray. Thank both of you guys. I definitely owe you guys a whoa. Whoa. Thank you. Very much appreciate it. There's so many things and Easter eggs when rewatching these episodes. There really are. Again, there's a lot of fun stuff to pick up on when you, especially season 1 in particular. And this is just season 1. We haven't even scratched the surface of season 2 or 3 yet. And again, when we finish with season 1, if you guys want us to continue this format and we'll continue to do season 2 and season 3, we will definitely do that. It's pretty much up to you guys in the chat, whether you want to continue this little format after we're done with season 1, or whether you would rather just focus solely on season 5 predictions. That's totally in your court. But I am down. I'm totally down for going back and rewatching season 2 and talking about it and seeing what else we can pick up on the second season, just like we're doing now with the first. Just like season 1, it's been quite a while since I've seen season 2 as well. Probably even longer. Like season 1, I kind of tend to go back to more than any other season. But season 2, shit. I haven't rewatched season 2 in fucking forever. What about you, PM? When's the last time you watched season 2?
Season 2, I don't know, in a while. I mean, it's hard to say because on and off, I would go and revisit random episodes when we were watching season 4. As something would come up, I would jump
for
around
research
the
purposes.
entire,
So
it's hard to say.
No, I would do that too. But like in terms of like actually like sitting down and watching season 2 in its entirety, like a complete rewatch of season 2, all the episodes, I haven't done that in a long time for the second season. So no, I mean, I can only imagine what we might be able to pick up on season 2 as well. Remember last time we did the season 2 rewatch and Nikki Panda picked up what might potentially have been a giant spider in the background of Boyd running through the woods. Either that or just, one of the cameras kind of coming into frame, maybe potentially. I still think it's a camera, but I love the spider theory.
There's a spider in there somewhere.
There's a
You
spider
cannot
somewhere.
tell me that
No,
there is
there
so
is.
much spider symbolism, giant spiders in the drawings, and we're not going to have a spider. There's a spider in there.
Well,
okay?
they've kind of
There's
all
a spider.
they've kind of all but confirmed it at this point. That was actually one of the questions they got in that whole little Reddit thing that they did. They were asked, will the spider symbolism get explained in season 5? And they said, yes, it will. So I'm with you. I mean, I wasn't too sure about if we're going to get any giant spider or any kind of spider action on the show, but looks like we most certainly are. And I think seeing Jade's episode in season 4 definitely led me to believe that, okay, we probably are going to get something spider related, just, considering that the spiders were right there along the whole journey that Jade was going on from the start right to the very end. So yeah, we got spiders.
Yeah, and talking about that, it seems that the spider was aiding in his
It seemed like
remembrance
it was
of
helping him.
what was
Yes.
happening, even though
Almost.
your
Mm.
reaction is negative, right? Towards having
Yep.
a drink and it's crawling with spiders. It's
I
terrifying.
took that as the spiders are helping him get his memory back.
Yes. So the spider deity potentially is a good one. It's
Could
on the
be.
side of the humans being given an opportunity, right?
Mm.
Because clearly there are two forces at play. They do get
Mhm.
help sometimes. These
Yep.
people are helped and kept from harm by something and given
Mm.
uh, like Boyd in this episode, he's asking, hey, I don't believe in signs to Abby, but right now would be great for you to give me a sign, right? And he is getting those signs. And we know that Abby has been seen covered by a giant spider web. So
Yeah.
we have, I think, looked at the spider in that season as a negative thing, as a terrifying, scary thing, because of the way that Abby is like all covered up in the spider
Yeah.
webs.
The way they bit Boyd. Yeah.
But I think it might be a good thing.
Yeah. I think, because I was always a little more on the line of, these spiders, if this spider thing is going to be real, it's probably not going to be anything freaking good. But no, that Jade episode definitely kind of started making me rethink it, the way that these spiders seem to be guiding Jade on this journey right from the very beginning, crawling on the wall. It was very interesting how it was the spiders crawling up the window and being on him that got Jade to recognize the sign right in front of him that said answers pointing into the woods. And then as we continue to go on, we see the spiders kind of in the skull. Right as he's drinking the skull and getting his memories back. And then later on, again, we see another pretty big spider when Jade finds the hidden hallway down in Colony House basement that leads to potentially the caves, most likely. Seemed like the spider was there along the journey with Jade the whole time. And yeah, in that episode, I didn't get a malevolent feeling from it. I got a feeling of almost some kind of guide.
Up until then, season 4. Now, I suspected, okay, that Boyd, he mentions in this episode, hey, it's beginning to happen. And he talks to Abby at her grave.
The Parkinson's,
I
yeah.
think the Parkinson's is going to get me because it's starting just like it did with my dad.
Yeah.
I better figure this out before it's too late. But
Yeah.
once he gets bit by the spiders, it seems to help his Parkinson's. And
For a little
one of my
while.
theories was maybe the venom is calming or acting as a sedating force in his arm so that it stops shaking and he could get out of his head. Because I do believe that he doesn't have Parkinson's. This is simply him reacting to this place because it is his biggest fear to be physically incapable. So I think that he is mentally reacting and having that physical show of something that is not actually happening. And I think the spider seeing this because he talked to Abby and Abby is very close to the spider, seeing this helped them out for a little while. Of course, it only made it worse when the worms, when Martin got him with the worms, who I think is the men in yellow, it just made it worse. But for a while, the spider was helping.
Well, the worms actually are what made it better. The Parkinson's. As soon as Boyd gets the worms, he says the shaking stops. He doesn't have any shaking anymore, but now he's got these worms under his skin. But then as soon as he gives the worms to Smiley, as soon as the worms leave his body, the shaking comes back. So it seems like the worms halted the Parkinson's. It seems like when he had the worms inside of his body, he didn't have the Parkinson's. And I think that makes sense with what the worms were doing to Martin potentially as well, where the worms were seemingly the only thing keeping Martin alive. Like these worms are keeping their host body alive for some reason. So I thought that was very interesting where, it's again, we'll get to it when we get to our season 2 rewatch, but that's something that he says early on that, as soon as he gets these worms, the shaking stops. He has no more shaking anymore, but now I got these worms under my skin, he says. But then again, once he gets rid of them, the shaking comes back pretty early on in season 3, right after he kills Smiley. So yeah, I do wonder if it is psychological were the worms halting it a little bit, where the spider bites keeping it at bay for a little bit, because there is also like a real world, not just Fromville. I mean, in our world, there's a pretty cutting edge study that's been going on for the last few years, and I learned this through the From channel. Wow, what was it called? Or one of those earlier From channels. Fromland. It was a channel Fromland, where he did when he saw the spider bites from Boyd. I guess he did some research and found out that in the real world there is actual clinical trials being conducted right now that they are using spider venom to halt Parkinson's. Like, that is a legit, real experiment that is going on in the real world right now, and was when the show started. And I have to imagine that's something that John Griffin knew. So yeah, maybe there is a little something to the spider venom weakening him early on. I mean, it seems like, when he gets bit, he gets weakened right away. But maybe the longer term effect was it halted the Parkinson's for a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Now, I do have a new Martin theory. Okay,
Ooh.
I came out of this episode just, with all kinds of theories, nothing to do with Martin, but the Parkinson's connected me to Martin and what happens to Boyd. Now, I laughed because this sounds like those medication studies where they say, we're going to fix your problem. You have a shaky arm? No problem. We're going to give you this medication. And now you don't have a shaky arm, but guess what? You have worms.
You got this, and that. Yeah.
It's
now
like you
worms.
get rid of one thing and you give me a whole nother problem to deal with.
Yep.
So I was laughing because it's like, yeah, obviously he's not going to be shaking because he's being controlled by worms all over his arm, crawling from the inside out. It's like, obviously they're halting the shaking because now they're causing a whole lot of other drama in his hand. So funny. But I have a new theory about Martin.
Okay.
So I originally thought Martin is the man in yellow. He just was acting. He was pretending to be somebody that died there, right?
Yeah. Another form
and
of
wanted,
yeah,
and wanted Boyd to buy into this and to get close to him. And that's all that there is to it. That's why he knew the name and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the look of this man, he did seem to have been there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm thinking, no, perhaps, and this is my new theory, Martin is another version of Clara. He is just like Clara. Martin was somebody that used to live in the town.
Former spy?
And Martin,
A former spy like Clara?
Somebody that struck a deal just like Clara.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Somebody that met the men in yellow, and the men in yellow said, hey, I'm going to let you live. You want to live, right? Yes, I do. Okay. You just have to make a little bargain with me. You're going to help me when I need you. And he's like, all right, perfect. And he gave him what he wanted. You're living for a long time. I'm letting you live. He got chained down there, right? And so he's keeping him alive. And the reason why I think he is somebody that made a bargain, so not the men in yellow, but somebody that made a bargain with the men in yellow. And the bargain was, I need you to transfer my blood to Boyd, because that is what she did with Clara. The men in yellow saw Clara, and way before Clara met anybody, she said, I'm going to need you to do a little something for me. Mm-hmm. And remember how he transfers the blood to Fatima. He doesn't do it himself. He doesn't grab his hand and does it to Fatima. No, he puts his blood into a vessel, into a second person, and then tells them, your job is to get this in her. Your job is to get this from your arm, from your hand, your physical body, into that person. And so that makes a lot of sense. When you see what she did to Fatima, she had to make herself bleed to give it to Fatima. So what did Martin have to do? Martin had to make himself bleed, and he had to cut himself to give it to Boyd. And as soon as he did that, he was released from the contract. He was like,
Yeah.
finally,
Yep.
I
He
had
got
to do this bargain. He got
instantly.
released what
Yeah,
he
it's
wanted.
not like the worms were the only thing keeping him alive. Almost like these worms were designed to keep the host body alive for as long as they need to until they depart, and then he like literally just drops dead.
I think it's just it's once my blood is out of you and it goes
Yeah.
to where I want it
Yep.
to go, you have completed your end of the bargain. Because once the blood was out of Clara, we are to assume it was affecting Fatima. Clara was acting just fine. She was just a vessel. So it seems
And it
like
didn't
if we
kill her
pick
like
up
Martin, but she didn't have the worms.
exactly. So it seems like if we pick up on these two people, Clara
Mhm.
and the men in yellow, who didn't have worms crawling all over, it
Mhm.
seems like the men in yellow cannot directly force you into taking its blood. It's always asking, right? So
Voluntarily,
it
it
says,
needs to be
Clara,
uh-huh.
Clara, do you want to strike a bargain? Clara says yes. And then she says, give me your hand, Clara. So she has to volunteer her hand.
Same thing
And
with
then she
Martin.
says, I want to get my blood into somebody that is not going to allow me to put my blood in them. So this person in the middle, they can go and force them. They can trick them. They could do all these trickery things that I can't do because I have to have consent. That's why he uses middleman. And I think Martin was just like Clara, a middleman to get his blood, the Menengelos blood, into Boyd. Just like Clara was a middleman to get the Menengelos blood into Fatima.
Mm. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. I like it. I like it. I think it adds more theme to the whole "my blood is your blood" kind of theme that got started right with Boyd and Martin at the beginning of season 2. And again, I think it would make perfect sense if the man in yellow has been making these bargains every single cycle for as long as he's been here, cultivating these assets, cultivating these people, these sleeper agents to activate when and if he needs them at any given point in the cycle for whatever he needs them for. So no, I think that's a very interesting possibility that Martin was one of these sleeper agents, maybe made a deal with the man in yellow. And this is where he kind of ended up because of it. And I guess that will be interesting to see if that's the case. Could we potentially see Clara follow in a similar path? Is Clara destined for that dungeon or a similar position as Martin was in? I think it's interesting. I like it. I like it. And again, definitely a new theory I have not heard before in terms of in terms of a new Martin theory.
Yeah. The way that he talks about the town, it seems like he was somebody in the town.
He
lived
resident
there. And once he ventured out, he realized, oh my God, this is really bad. And that probably means he got to know the men in yellow.
And that's how he knows that there's worse things out in the forest than the monsters, because he's met the man in yellow.
Mm-hmm. And from context clues, like I said, the man in yellow, Sophia, she has to ask you for your hand to give you her blood. So if you strike a bargain with the middleman, they are willing to maybe put other people that they don't know at risk and to say, yeah, like Clara or Martin, right? I don't know these people. And all I have to do is just carry this blood until I pass it to this random person. Okay, I'll do it. And that kind of is a way of finding a loophole. The man in yellow is finding a loophole to get his blood that he knows Fatima's not going to accept to drink his blood.
He can't harm
he
people
knows
directly.
Boyd is not going to accept it. So he's finding humans to be a vessel, just a carrying vessel, a mule. These are the mules. These are the men in yellow mules that are putting their blood into unsuspecting folks.
Mules.
The mules.
I love it. I like it. No, I like it. I think it's a very real possibility with, with surrounding kind of, evidence to back it up even. And again, when it comes to Martin, my two theories have always been, from the man in yellow first showed up. Obviously, the man in yellow is a really interesting theory that Martin is just another form of the man in yellow, considering who Martin is, the things that he knows, the things that he's done. I could believe that. But I also always wondered if Martin was just locked up in that dungeon by the Man in Yellow, maybe because the Man in Yellow needed a vessel for these worms, a place to house these worms until he needed a place to use them. So yeah, I always thought it's going to be coming down to one of those things. He's either a form of the Man in Yellow that is manipulating people, or he was locked up there by the Man in Yellow. Because I always found it very interesting when Martin says, not just, you think the monsters did this to me. You know, the monsters didn't do this to me. They're just the tip of the spear. Instantly kind of indicating that he did not get thrown in this dungeon by any fucking monster. Somebody else, something else locked him up in this place. And again, I think that's any coincidence that he was locked up in that place and he has those worms inside of them. It almost seems like he was locked up in there because maybe the Man in Yellow needed a vessel to keep these worms in. So no, I love that. I like the idea that maybe Martin was a sleeper agent, even that he made this deal with the Man in Yellow, and this is where it freaking ended him up.
I mean, it's a loophole. It's a loophole in order to get
the
his
Man in Yellow's
blood
crafty enough to find
into
loopholes
people.
like that.
Yeah, he's not gonna play fair.
No
I mean,
way.
we are
No.
clearly looking at two forces in the universe.
True.
This is a story as old as time itself. Every story, you know, the earliest, the ones that start religions, Bible, they have a theme of the two forces in the universe: chaos, or the bad, you know, and
Yeah.
goodness, order, and the good in the universe. And
Yeah.
so the bad never plays fair. They're going to lie, they're going to scheme, they're going to listen to the rules just so they can find loopholes.
Just
And
like
we
we
have
saw
seen
Sophia
how
do.
he acts. Yeah, we
Yep.
see how Sophia is acting.
She
We
literally
see that
stole
she
all the
enjoys this.
talismans. I mean, you know, it seemed like the talismans were a balancing act, like a balancing tool almost within the town of From. Like these were left here by the previous Jades and Tabithas, or the originals, to give the people that get stuck here at least some semblance of an even playing field, of a fighting chance against these monsters. And Sophia just took that and just completely threw it right off the board. So yeah, the Man in Yellow will play dirty.
Yeah, and that is another way of saying, you know, I need to trick these people into my blood. Some people I can convince. Clearly, Henry, he was able to do it to Henry because
easier.
Henry is the town's drunk at this
Yep.
point. It seems like the town always has that person, that father, that drinks a little too much. And
Yep.
so after Frank, it was Henry. And so it was much easier to do this to him. But when you're going after people that are watched by others, like Boyd, you're going after Fatima, yeah, he's gonna find a loophole.
No, I love that. I love the idea of the Man in Yellow, you know, finding these kind of you know, roundabout ways to kind of play dirty, to cut some corners, to ensure that these cycles continue, ensure that these Jade and Tabithas don't succeed. And I like the idea of him putting these little pieces on the boards, like these Claras, like these Martins, like these worms. It's just, you know, future tools that he can use at his disposal. I think it makes sense. And speaking of tools, we also have Dash Barnes, who has just delivered 1,000 jewels and a trophy cake. Thank you so much, Dash, to Dasha Barnes for the 1,000 jewels and the trophy cake. That is incredibly generous of you. Wow. Thank you so much. And of course, anyone who has sent jewels in tonight, whether it's Xavier, Dasha, or of course, I know we got one more, our good pal Ray. Any of you guys who have sent in jewels, if you have anything specific that you want us to dive into, please throw it in the chat and let me know. That's one of the things about the jewels. I don't know if they let you send messages with the jewels like they do super chats. So if you guys have anything you want us to dive into, please throw it in the chat and we will definitely dive into it. But thank you so much for the 1,000 jewels. Wow. Wow. Thank you. All right, let's see what you guys are saying in the chat so far. The most important clue about Martin is he knows Julie but didn't know Boyd. So Julie will story walk in season 5 and meet Martin before he was chained. 100%. Again, if Martin really is just Martin and he was locked up there by the Man in Yellow and he's not really the Man in Yellow, then yes, that would be the other explanation as to how maybe Martin knows some of the things that he knows. Julie might have story walked there at some point and gone like way further into the past, maybe right after he gets locked up there. And maybe that's how he learns some of these things. Maybe Julie tells him some of these things that Martin needs to know in the future. Maybe Julie is, the architect of sorts of some of the things that Martin later goes on to do. Maybe Julie's even the one that tells Martin to give Boyd the freaking worms, for all we know. I feel like there's so many things that they could do with that where, yeah, at some point, if Martin isn't the Man in Yellow, and he was just locked up there maybe by the Man in Yellow, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's another story walking adventure to come where Julie goes and visits him before Boyd does, before her first time there, and maybe that's how Martin knows some of the things that he knows. Definitely a possibility, for sure. Well, I'd like to see that because it will line up more answers. I'm not sure what that is referring to, but definitely need some more answers heading to season 5. That is for sure. Man in Yellow could not force Elgin. No, again, it seems like the Man in Yellow wants to make these deals, yes, but yeah, can't force people to do certain things. And I think there's even certain characters that the Man in Yellow probably can't even harm directly either, like Jade and Tabitha, for instance. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Let's see what else we got. Not sure if it's 100% correct, but Man in Yellow seems to only kill you if you know his identity. I mean, maybe that is a part of it. Again, Elgin foolishly kind of goes right up to her, shows her the picture, and at that point he's at loose end. She kind of has to take him out at that point. She can't just leave Elgin alive in this massive loose end and hope that it doesn't get her uncovered. So yeah, I mean, if you're the Man in Yellow and somebody finds out your true identity and you're not ready to reveal who you are yet, yeah, that's a death sentence. That is a death sentence. I want to see Sarah I want Sarah to figure out who Sophia is. I am right there with you, Wolfspear, and we talked a little bit about this heading into season 4, right around when we got to the episode when Sophia decides to stay with Sarah, of all people. I think a lot of us were of the impression of, okay, this is going to ultimately be Sophia's downfall right here. Yes, you think she might be wanting to stay with Sarah to try and manipulate her, but Sarah's different now. Sarah's grown. Sarah's evolved a lot as a character. Maybe Sarah will be the one to pick up on some inconsistencies with Sophia. I was definitely not expecting Sarah to get so easily manipulated by Sophia in season 4. Not after everything Sarah has been through, not after everything she's learned, not after how strong she's kind of become. That was a little out of character for her to kind of get manipulated that easy. But yeah, I was really hoping Sarah was going to figure her out, and maybe she still could. Again, as far as we know right now, heading into season 5, Sophia's cover is still intact. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I would like them to explain some of the decision making, and I don't want the scapegoat of they're under stress, because this town is stressful and has been for a long time. They live like this every single day.
Always stress.
And
yeah.
Sarah was able to handle the stress of what was happening with Fatima and to make the decision to not listen to the voices, to not listen to the fear that she had, and to continue to be courageous and to do what she believed to be the right thing. Now, her changing and all of a sudden listening,
But you don't.
because she was afraid, that's out of character. It's not matching her character arc. So I would like an explanation on that. But, I still hope that Sarah has a place in continuing that growth that the character was showing, which is to overcome her fear. She seems to have had a very difficult life where she was the victim of abuse. She was the victim of a violent relationship. She seems very doesn't stand up for herself. So I would like to see, even if she dies trying to help them get out, her complete
Yeah.
that, come to full growth that she was, kind of showing us, that she conquers her fear and becomes her own woman.
Me too. No, 100%. And I think that's why, you and I, we were loving Sarah's character development at the end of season 3, seeing what she did to Elgin. I mean, yeah, it's gruesome. She pulled out a kid's eye, but when you look at the reasoning behind why she did it, when you actually look at the context and not just the act itself, you start to see that growth within Sarah, where she realizes the kind of role that she can play in the town, the things that she can do that can maybe other people can't do, or things that she will do so other people don't have to do those things, like she does for Boyd there in that instance. She knows that Boyd's going to have to go back into that room and continuing to torture Elgin if he's going to save Fatima. And Sarah knows the kind of person that Boyd is, knows what that is going to do to his soul, to his spirit. He is going to feel that, regardless of whether or not it's, he's doing what has to be done, which he was. Boyd is the type of person where he's going to feel bad for that later on. And Sarah knew that. Sarah didn't want that on Boyd's soul. So she just stepped to the fucking plate and totally didn't mind sacrificing her own soul. And that's what she feels like she's doing, sacrificing her own soul because hers is already damned, so Boyd can be saved. So when you see somebody like that, yes, it's a gruesome act when she's taking out Elgin's eye. The act of it is gruesome, but the context behind it, the reasoning behind it, is actually very altruistic and very selfless of Sarah to do that for someone like Boyd, to kind of spare him to have to do it himself. And that was like, again, I thought that was a really good character development moment for her, because I feel like up until that point, Sarah was searching for what her role in the town is. Where do I fit in here? How can I be useful to these people after everything I've done? And I feel like in that moment, she found out how she could be useful. And then, yeah, we kind of get a little bit of regression in season 4 with her getting manipulated super easy after seeing someone that she doesn't even know fall into a fucking pool. It just didn't make sense with how strong and sure of herself Sarah was at the end of season 3 to be that manipulated that easy by a teenage girl falling in a fucking pool.
Well, it all sounds very good. You know that I'm Sarah's #1 lawyer, but let's acknowledge the actual episode. I am her lawyer, yes, but this episode was not her best. This is where she gets somehow
this in particular
manipulated enough that she's willing to kidnap and kill little Ethan. I mean, when you're manipulated to the point where you agree to kill a little child, I mean, come on, Sarah. And it doesn't make it better because, yes, she kills her brother on accident. But imagine trying to explain to somebody and making it like better. Like, I didn't mean to kill my brother. It was an accident, actually, because I was trying to kill a little boy. It's like, no, the explanation makes it worse, Sarah.
You're so fucking right. Oh my God, it really does. It's like, I killed my brother. No, don't worry. I didn't mean to kill my brother. I only accidentally killed my brother because he stopped me from killing a fucking 10-year-old kid or a 6-year-old kid. Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you learn more about the details, it just makes it fucking worse. Like you said, not her best episode. This is not her finest hour, Sarah, in this episode that we have recently watched here, season 1, episode 5. Very good point. Let's see what you guys are saying. From could stand for several things: fairy tale, realm of monsters, fantasy, reality, or make believe, first reality of Nan, fake, real, or myth. I mean, I think when it comes to from, if we find out that maybe it is like an acronym for something, I think that's a possibility as well. Part of me always liked the idea that, considering the origin kind of translation in some of the foreign markets for from, where the title is translated to origin and not from. I always wondered if from was always going to be like referring to that, where something comes from, where something originated from, the origin of something. And in this case, the origin of from, the origin of the sacrifice, maybe. But if it's like an actual acronym for something, then yeah, who knows? What does F stand for? R, O, and M? I mean, I feel like it's definitely a possibility, maybe. Who knows? From is such a weird title for a show. that yeah, you wonder if it's going to have a deeper meaning than just the origin of something or where something is from. Is there going to be a deeper meaning to it, maybe? Yeah, and again, I hope you find out what the title means, someone else. And that's been a question that a lot of people have been asking for, from the very beginning. Why From? Why is the show titled From? What is the deeper meaning behind it? And maybe there will be a much deeper meaning that we'll learn at some point.
Yeah, to me, now that we have seen a little bit more of the show, I kind of keep going back to the origin of humanity. A lot of different cultures have believed they have stories of creation. And
Yeah.
in those stories of creation, there's always chaos or a negative force and a positive one. So to me, I always kind of interpret it in that way. From the origin of creation and human beings, what we're made of, what our soul is made of. It's made of people who do horrible things like the monsters, and also people that are benevolent and do good things for others, even if they are not their children themselves. People that are helpful, right? Good and bad, good versus evil. So it always kind of meant like the origin of humanity, what makes
Yeah.
us human to me.
Yeah. No, totally. It just feels like that kind of origin tale. Yeah, I 100% agree. And greetings from Charlotte. Welcome, Charlotte. I mean, wherever you guys are tuning in from, Charlotte or anywhere else, welcome. Love to have you guys. Let's see what else we got. We got Guns and Roses, who has gifted 2 jewels and a silver star as well. Thank you so much, Guns and Roses, for the 2 jewels and the silver star. And it looks like Sunflower has also gifted a membership. 1 membership gifted from Sunflower. Wow, thank you so much for that, Sunflower. And it looks like D. Dord has been the recipient of that membership. So welcome to the channel, D. Dord. And thank you so much, Sunflower and Guns N' Roses. Very much appreciate you guys. Thank you. Whoa. Thank you. Oh, and before we dive back into the chat, we got 1 more from Sunflower. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Very much appreciate that. Easter egg Trudy reference to the Alabaster Dragon. Yes, this is the episode where we do get that line. And it's funny, right before that line of Jade and Trudy is when I picked up on something in this episode that I hadn't really paid too close attention to in my previous rewatches, or at least I haven't dived deeper into it in terms of when Jade is walking up to Trudy or walking up to the bar, he's reciting all of these different paradoxes, all of the different possible paradoxes that he thinks From might be, which I do have a list of and which I did do some research on, and we'll take a look at those as well. So yeah, you find some, again, even after all these rewatches, we still find like these little things that send us down these other little rabbit holes, even after seeing these episodes so many times. So yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, again, as you mentioned, this is the Alabaster Dragon episode. This dragon is one that dies but is reincarnated. PM, this is your lane. She is wearing the Zodiac shirt with the yin and yang, number 12 and the dragon. Ooh, interesting. This dragon is one that dies but is reincarnated. I mean, reincarnation, very, heavy theme of the show. But what do you think about this, PM? Wearing the Zodiac shirt with the yin and yang, number 12, and the dragon. Especially with the yin and yang being very kind of prevalent or very, very symbolic for some of the forces we're seeing in Fromville, like Jade and Tabitha in The Man in Yellow, or the boy in white in The Man in Yellow. But yeah, what do you think about this?
Well, thank you so much, Sunflower. And I believe that this is just symbolism for what we're seeing at play.
Mhm.
I think that the T-shirts that the characters use, the iconography, the art that they're using to choose for the show is to show us the symbolism of there are forces at play.
Yeah.
This is celestial. This is ritualistic. This goes beyond the human existence. It goes into your soul. It goes into the cosmos, right? So that's
Mhm.
what I think it represents, the shirt that she chooses to wear. Now, I think when she says the alabaster dragon, which I like that you say that it's a dragon that has been reincarnated. So
Mhm.
clearly, if that dragon represents Jade, which that's what she's saying, Trudy saying, I would have rode you like an alabaster dragon. So that dragon represents Jade, somebody that's reincarnated. They have a mission, right? And as Trudy is saying that to Jade, I don't think that it is a coincidence that she is making this offer, because that is an offer if I ever heard one.
It's an offer. That is a proposal.
Very front. That is an indecent proposal. I don't think that it is a coincidence that she is making this proposal right when he is mentioning all of the paradoxes, all of the scientific knowledge that he would be using or he's trying to connect to solve the mystery of this place. It's no coincidence that he is engaged in this, and that's when the proposal comes. And the reasoning why is because Jade is correct that there are cosmic forces at play that involve science. He's mentioning all of these scientists, and that they are in this place that has been created or manifested as mass that didn't exist before. So he is onto something. That's what I'm trying to say. He's onto something, and that's when he gets an indecent proposal. I would have rode you like an alabaster dragon, and she has been at it, right? She has been into him. And that is because when you're trying to look for answers, this place and the negative force will use alcohol, sex, and other things, weed, in order to misguide you from finding what you're trying to find. He's working at this. He's trying to do something, but instead she is offering, don't look for answers.
Distraction.
Don't go any deeper. You could use sex, drugs, or alcohol in order to be, okay with being in this place and not looking for answers. You're onto something. So guess what I'm going to put in your path? I'm going to put Trudy, somebody that I already know is into you. Now, I was very proud of Jade in this particular
resist.
Scene. I was very proud of Jade because Jade says, no.
Right? I got more important things to deal with. Yeah.
Look at the way he's looking at her. Look at the way she's looking at him. Her tongue is out. Her tongue is out. Do you see her tongue?
Yeah.
It's out. It's out and about. And look at the way Jade is almost disgusted.
He's like, get the fuck off me.
Look, he's disgusted. He's like, put that tongue back in your mouth, girl. I don't know where it's been.
I'm old enough to be your dad.
Colony
That's what
house.
He's thinking. I'm old enough to be your damn
You're
father.
all up in Colony House. I don't do dirty hippies, as he calls them, or ding dongs. So I was very proud of Jade.
Yeah.
Because he is focused on finding the evidence that he needs in order to get a hold of what this place is. He's like, where am I? That's where I have to start, right? So I was proud of him being strong enough to say, listen, you can't tempt me with sex. And he has been there for this long, and he still hasn't been tempted now with sex.
No.
The alcohol worked on him. I will say later on in later seasons, the alcohol works on him. Yeah. But I was very proud of Jade for saying, no, girl, please leave me alone. You are sexually harassing me. Put the tongue back in your mouth. I am not going to go into that right now.
He was not. You're right. He not only was he not going for it, he does almost feel. It did almost seem like he was a little put off by it. Like what are you doing? You're making a fool of yourself right now, is what he's probably thinking. And again, it's like, I'm old enough to be your dad. Ride me like an alabaster dragon. Get out of here. Go home.
It's a little scary, okay?
It's a little,
if I was Jade, I'd be like,
scary. If I was Jade, I would have ran.
It's a little scary, and you're threatening me. You're threatening me.
I would have run for the hills if I was Jade in this scene. I would have been in the other direction. Like, okay, no, alabaster. She's talking about alabaster dragons and all this great. No, not for me.
And that's right, Guns N' Roses. She wasn't Jade's type. You know why? Jade likes a Latina. Jade likes a Latina that screams at him. I'm Jade's type. I'm Jade's type, okay? He likes an accent, a Latina that is screaming at him, because he loves hanging out with Tabitha, even though he says, are you going to scream at me again? He loves it. He loves that fiery attitude that we have, okay? I'm more his type.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't do that. I would not tempt him. I would not stick my tongue out like that. He
No,
looks like he's terrified of her.
he does. He looks terrified. He does. He wants off there. He wants to be anywhere else but there right now. Oh man, but yeah, it's and again, and as Sunflower says in the super chat there, the thing about the dragon is one that dies but resurrects. And that is pretty much the lore behind the Alabaster Dragon. The Alabaster Dragon is a character in Magic the Gathering, a card game. And from what I gather, that is the ability that the Alabaster Dragon has. It has the ability to fly, but also has the ability for resurrection, literal resurrection. So yeah, very early on, we're seeing this huge symbolism and foreshadowing for Jade's resurrection. Not so much resurrection, but more reincarnation. You can kind of consider reincarnation a form of resurrection in a sense. So yeah, right at the very beginning, we're getting this seemingly innocuous kind of line about this Alabaster Dragon. But little do we know, all these seasons later, now that we know about Jade reincarnating, it actually has a lot deeper meaning to it than just her propositioning Jade, you might say. So yeah, there's again, these are the kind of deeper meanings that you can kind of find in some of these earlier scenes, these earlier episodes. Now that we've seen, 4 seasons of From, we have more context to notice stuff like this now. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Fucking Jade was not having it. Jade was not having it. Let's just see Jade's whole reaction to this thing, shall we? Because I could have sworn, I mean, I could have sworn I remember him kind of just looking at her like she's weird.
She is weird.
Too bad you chose the town. I
Look at him. He's like,
Look
there you go. He's like, what? That's not, and that's what we're saying. People are saying, how do we know his type? Because we know Tabitha. He's like Tabitha, and he told us 100%. He told us what he likes. He said, Tabitha, if I had to do this and reincarnate over and over again with somebody, I'm glad it was you. And what does she say? She says, thanks. He's not into somebody that's so forward. He's into somebody that he spills his heart out and they say, yeah, nice, thank you, goodbye. That's what he's into. He's into the hurtful, he likes to be hurt. This is too easy. This is way too easy for him.
It's too easy.
He basically tells Tabitha, I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you. You go up. I lied. This is not gonna protect us, but I'll sacrifice myself for you. I want you to be safe. And she's like, okay, give me the bones. I'm going up the ladder. Bye. Thank you.
Oh shit. Very funny. Yeah. Fucking Alabaster Dragon. So yeah, there you go, folks. I guess we get some new context for some of these scenes when we do some of these rewatches, which is always fun. Yeah, Jade wondering if he already took mushrooms. Nah, he thought about it.
Oh
Great scene. Jade's baffled, befuddled. It was Tabitha all along. It was. Tabitha all along.
Tabitha all along.
Yeah. Yeah, Tabitha is not a very emotional person. I think that is one thing that has very much been established up until this point. She's an emotional person, but not in that sense. Like, I guess you could say her, she has emotional reactions to things, but it's usually of the more chaotic runaway nature. She's not a very warm kind of person in terms of that kind of emotional. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. She's not. And it's like Mita XOX is saying here. He likes the chase. Trudy was like, here, it's too easy. He doesn't like that. Now, remember when he starts working with Tabitha, I feel like Jade was more open emotionally to what was happening from season 1, because when they start working together, him and Tabitha, there is a moment when they're working on the bottle tree numbers where he looks at her. And he looks at her in such a loving way. I almost thought, oh my God, are they going to kiss? They can't do this to Jim, because I like Jim too. But the way that he looks at Tabitha, no way does it compare the way that he looks at Trudy. Just watch that scene. They're working on the bottle tree numbers, sitting at the table, and he's looking at Tabitha in such a loving manner. Does not compare. And sometimes men like that, okay? Men like to be mistreated sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I like to kid around with Jeremy. I'll call him, and if he doesn't pick up, I'm like, when I call you, pick up on the first, and he laughs. He finds it funny, but it's not for everybody, right,
Yeah.
Jeremy? It's not for everybody.
Yeah. Love it. Absolutely love it. But yeah, too easy. Too easy for Trudy. Trudy was just too easy for Jade. You're right. I do agree. And I also think this was interesting. Again, I'm not a Magic the Gathering player myself. So the only Alabaster Dragon information I have is just stuff that I've researched, kind of watching the show over the years. But I didn't know this. This fits right into the reincarnation thing even more. Apparently, the Alabaster Dragon shuffles back into your deck when it dies. So that is not only, I imagine, a very valuable card. It sounds like anyway. But that is exactly what we're seeing with Jade and Tabitha. Every time they die, they literally get shuffled right back into the deck, reincarnated, and spit right back out onto the table. So yeah, the whole Alabaster Dragon thing really is a perfect metaphor for Jade's reincarnation. Again, right back into the deck after it dies. It couldn't be real any more on the nose than that. So thank you for that. That part I did not know. Did not know that part. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff.
I love how we're getting into see, these are the important questions, okay? This is boots on the ground journalism. Where else are you going to get who Jade's type is?
Well, I think we're talking about
other people are not
Jade.
discussing. Yeah,
we're talking about
other people are not discussing the important things here, which is, can I have a chance with Jade? That is the important topics. And I like that in this channel we are. And let's talk about it, Robert Saunders. So Robert says, Jeremy and PM, I hate to disagree, but Tabitha's predecessor was a hippie white woman, not a Hispanic girl. So maybe in each reincarnation, he likes a different type of woman?
Yeah.
Question mark. And you know what, Robert? I would love to agree with you. I stand corrected. I believe that you are right.
Well, I thought that's what we were saying in the first place. I thought that's what we were saying, that it was just this Jade that was attracted to Tabitha, not every Jade.
But I'm happy to agree, and I'll tell you what. Because I don't want a chance with Christopher. Okay, you guys could take Christopher. I'll leave it to the hippie white woman to take Christopher. I'll take the Jades. I don't want a chance with the previous version of himself. Okay,
yeah.
I only want the Jade version. All the other versions, not interested. The Jade version, yes. So it works for me. It totally works for me that Christopher would not be into me. So I would like to agree with you, Robert. Definitely.
Yeah, no, me too. Me too, 100%. Like when we were discussing it, I was just referring to this Jade in particular, not all the previous Jades. We haven't met any of the previous Jades to know any of what they're kind of really into other than Miranda. But this Jade in particular seems to be more of a Tabitha type based on what we've learned. But yeah, the previous Jades, again, they're all different people. Same people, but different people at the same time. We see that with Miranda and Tabitha, they might be reincarnated from an original version, but each one of them has a different personality, a whole different life that they've lived, good, bad, different memories, different experiences. So yeah, they're the same kind of blueprint, but each have different individual experiences, which would lead to them liking different things. But no, for me, I was just kind of referring to this Jade here. Seems to be more of a Tabitha type. But the previous Jades, yeah, could be totally different types. 100% agree.
Totally different types.
Definitely
and you
agree.
know what? The white delegation of women has to take one for the team. You guys get Christopher, and guess what? The Hispanic delegation will take Jade. We will take Jade. We're fine with that.
Man. And this is why I really want to see the original Jade and the original Tabitha. What did the original settlers look like? The original parents, the original couple. I was really hoping we would get some kind of glimpse of them in season 4, some kind of flashback. But we didn't really get much in terms of answers about the original kind of cycle, if you will. But that's what I want to see. I heading into season 5, that would probably be on my top 5 list in terms of the questions that I want to see answered the most, or the reveals that I want to get the most. I really want to see for myself the original Jade, the original Tabitha, and how the original sacrifice went down. How was it brought to them? How did the parents come by making this decision? Was it just born out of greed, where they just simply wanted immortality? Or is there a little bit more to the story where they felt like they were forced into this? They felt like they didn't have a choice to do it because something bigger or more deadly was looming over them. So many questions that we don't know about that original timeline. But yeah. Yes. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying. Let me scroll here. The Alabaster Dragon. Cromanakal is a dragon, right? I don't think the Cromanakal is a dragon. I think the Cromanakal is the female protagonist in the Cromanakal book that Ethan has. I believe it's the female hero, pretty much. And I think that's why a lot of people think that the Cromanakal is Tabitha, which it could be. I think Tabitha lines up the most so far. But we'll see. The body in the root cellar had that blue and white shirt. It did. I remember that we even went back and checked it just to be sure. And they're slightly different. The body in the root cellar, while it has a similar color shirt in terms of the white and blue stripes, when you look at the one in the cellar, when you zoom in on it really quick, on the blue stripes, it has these diamond shapes, like these very clear kind of diamond kind of design on it. So it is different, because I thought it was the same shirt and same pants and same everything at first as well. But it's different color pants and it's a different design on the shirt. Like you really, really got to zoom in on the one in the root cellar to really, really see it. But if you get a good enough shot of it and you zoom in enough and enhance it enough, you should be able to see the little diamond kind of design that's on the shirt that differentiates it from Jade's, because I thought it was Jade's shirt too at first when I first saw it. I think a lot of people did. But yeah, it looks like it's a different one. Looks like it's a different. Jade was shaken by Trudy's audacity. Yeah, the audacity on Trudy. Alabaster Dragon? What the hell's that? He's probably thinking. I think that's what Jade's thinking. What the fuck's an Alabaster Dragon? That's probably what's going through his mind in this fucking scene. Doesn't he tell Jim she is an adult when Jim was telling him to back off? Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, yeah, we see that Jade and Tabitha start to work together, a lot more, right around from like season 3 on. And Jim seems to have a problem with that at some point. And he kind of tells Jade to stay away from her. And Jade's straight up like, she's an adult. Why are you telling me this? You talk to her about that. And that was kind of his stance.
And you know what? When it comes to this sort of situation, I do agree with Jade. When you're in a situation where, let's say that you're married and your husband is talking to another woman and you don't like their closeness, I don't think that you should go and talk to the other woman about this. You should talk to the adult who owes you loyalty, which is that husband, and you should put all the blame on that person. Yes, ideally, in the ideal world, everybody would have morals and you would not make somebody uncomfortable by hanging out with their significant other or their husband or wife too much in the perfect world. But this isn't the perfect world. So really, if you have a problem, it is a conversation between adults, between the married couple. And I do think that Jade is giving Tabitha some agency, saying, hey, it's not like me and you have control over this woman. Go talk to this woman and ask her why she's hanging out with me. I don't have control over it, over if I see her or not. You don't have control over her either. Go have a discussion, giving her back some agency, right? She's not a child that you can go back and forth to decide who she's allowed to talk to or not. So I do agree with Jade. I think that was the right way to handle a situation when there's a triangle happening. There's a triangle. You're being triangulated. Tell your wife. Tell your wife to not come see me, because if your wife comes see me, I'm going to talk to her. So you better keep your wife over there.
Yeah.
I'll talk to it is what it is. It is what it is.
And that's pretty much what Jade says. I mean, you talk to your wife about this. I mean, we're here trying to solve this thing. She's coming to me. I'm not coming up to her. And yeah, Jim has a problem with it, but they're trying to find answers at this point. They want to solve this damn thing. But yeah.
And Ram 5090 says, I disagree. Married people can have platonic friends. And this is not what we're saying. We are not saying that married people cannot have platonic friends.
Yeah.
What happens between a married couple and how they choose to live their life and what works for them works for them. What we are saying is that the right way to handle things is, if you have a problem with what your husband or your wife is doing, talk to your husband, talk to your wife.
Exactly.
Simple. Don't talk to everybody else and anybody that they're engaging with. Talk to the person, the source. Go directly to the source, which is your husband or your wife.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
can married people have platonic friends? Some relationships believe that they can. Some people think that they can't. How a married couple choose to live their life, as long as it works for them, it works for them.
Yeah. I think that's two totally different things there in terms of a husband and wife discussing something between them, and people just having platonic friends. People can have platonic friends. I don't think the two are mutually exclusive there. So yeah, married people have platonic friends all the time. Absolutely. I think Julie will start story walking again when she finds the bookmark she threw on the ground when she saw the man in yellow. She'll know it was real then. All real. I mean, again, we see Julie kind of experiment with this story walking and this bookmark kind of technique pretty early on in season 4, but she very much gets discouraged and kind of just abandons it. And then, towards the end of the season, when we have that scene between Julie and Tabitha and Ethan, they're all sitting at the table, Julie kind of starts to feel like she was maybe just going crazy, like she was just losing it. All she was doing was giving herself seizures. So she very much started to doubt the whole story walking thing. But yeah, I mean, could we see her story walk again at some point and actually find that card, find herself at that exact same moment and realize, holy shit, it actually did work. I just didn't do it right the first time. I think that's a possibility that she could come across that bookmark at some point. But I think regardless of the bookmark or not, she's definitely going to be story walking in season 5. There's no way she's just kind of giving it up entirely. She'll be back. She will be back in the saddle.
I like the idea. I like that she's going to find that, and that's going to empower her. Any way that gets her to story walk again. For me, I think that the ding dong, because this is all about Jade, so Jade's words, the ding dong Julie should have figured out, hey, I actually did story walk because I saw a man in a yellow suit first. And then I heard about everybody looking for a man in a yellow suit, dummy. So that means that it was real. This yellow suit guy was real. I mean, come on. That would have been enough. And for Tabitha to say, wait a minute, we're actually looking for him. Everybody in the town is looking for this man in yellow suit. And you said that you saw him. Can you tell me where? But she skips over it like, whatever, Julie. I'm leaving you guys again.
and this was kind of some of the problem I think that season 4 had, where Julie and Randall were doing their story walking thing apart from the rest of the group, where we finally have Boyd and Tabitha and Jade and Donna, and all of these characters are finally working together on the same page, sharing information, yet Julie and Randall are still off on their own, doing their own thing, apart from the group. And I think that was a little bit to the detriment of them. I think if Julie was working with the whole group from the very beginning, as soon as that man in yellow thing would have popped up, they would have been able to kind of, probably tackle everything a whole lot easier and a whole lot better. I think that's the only way it's really going to happen. In season 5, when Julie does start story walking again, she needs to bring everybody in. She needs to let everybody know what she's doing. She needs to work with everyone and start just doing this shit on her own. Because clearly she's not getting anywhere on her own. She can't do this by herself. She needs help. And I think that help is only going to come when she kind of comes to Jade and Tabitha and Victor and all of them. They all need to be working together to do it. No more kind of solo missions. Let's see what else we got. We got another UNC alert for 440 joules. Thank you so much, Catherine. Very, very much appreciate the 440 joules. We got another 250 joules from Stuffy D 370. Thank you so much, Stuffy D. We got a clapping seal. Love it. Love those clapping seals.
My God,
Let's see.
Jeremy, you're showing what an unk you are.
Showing
That's
what
why
an
they're
unk I
saying
am.
unk alert because you are reading unk as
Reading unk.
UNC alert.
Reading.
You
Well,
are
I
just
can't see
making
him on the
them
chat.
realize that you're an unk
I
every time
can't.
you read it.
I can't actually see what the things are. I can pull them up on screen, but I can actually see
You're
the
like, it's
emojis.
whatever a
Unfortunately,
UNC is, unk
yeah.
alert.
It's StreamYard still needs to upgrade that. Unfortunately, I can't see them on my end. I can only see the jewel amount. Unfortunately, but thank you, and I can read it. Of course, I can read the clapping seals. Thank you for the clapping seals, Stuffy D. And we also have Sunflower again for $5. Thank you so much, Sunflower. Jeremy and PM, can you play minute 2040 to 2110 to discuss? Looking at this now, it seems like more important scene. Okay, let's see. Let's see where we are at. Okay, 2044. Let's start at 2044, shall we? Yes, we shall. 2041. Okay, definitely wanted to talk a little bit more about this scene. Yes, 100 million percent. This is a great scene when Jade kind of gets right into the bar for the first time after having the swill, the poor man's potato vodka. He starts talking about what this place potentially is. In order to get out of here, we need to figure out what here is. And of course, this is where we get the this is the rats in a maze. I'm not the type that gets stuck in the maze. I'm the one that places the cheese is what we get here from Jade. We also get some interesting stuff from Tom as well. This whole scene is great. So yeah, let's play the scene and we can discuss it. Shall we? Here we go. This is a paradox. That is the problem. The immediate question is, how do we get home? But first, again, I think it's a very interesting metaphor of Jade talking about, everyone here is rats in a maze, nibbling on their cheese, very content. And that's literally what's happening here on the show at the very beginning. And we see that is a part of Fromville. When the residents are just going about their day-to-day life, when they're just kind of content, going through the motions, everything seems to be okay. Nothing seems to really kind of go wrong. It's only when people start to divert, when people start actually looking for answers, that we see a force inside this place begin to push back. But I love Jade's just reaction to this place. As soon as he arrives, he's instantly into problem-solving mode, instantly trying to figure out what is going on here. What kind of paradox would explain this phenomenon that we find ourselves in. And again, later on, just not later on, but before this, a few minutes right before he gets into the bar here, he talks a little bit about a few different possibilities, a few different possible paradoxes that might be going on here. The Klein paradox, the Hardy's paradox, and of course, the Einstein-Polyarsky-Rosen paradox. A lot of different interesting kind of parts of quantum mechanics that explain, two kind of particles occupying the same space without destroying each other, which I thought was a very interesting one because that kind of does explain Fromville to a certain extent. We hear Jade talk a little bit more about this exact theory later on in season 3, where he thinks that maybe Fromville occupies the exact same space in the real world, just two different planes. And he was theorizing that's why when people pop out, they're popping out in Camden, Maine, in the actual real world in the States, because Fromville is occupying a similar kind of place, just in two different planes. So here, very early on, we see the basis for some of the earliest theories that Jade is coming up with, that's swirling on in his mind. And I always thought that was one of the more interesting ones, the Klein paradox and the other one that he mentions. Because again, it does kind of explain a little bit of how Fromville could at least be possible, how a realm like this could potentially be possible, occupying the same place without destroying each other.
Mm-hmm. I know that you said you had some stuff on these particular paradoxes. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, that was pretty much it. The one of that these two particles or multiple particles occupying the same space, but they don't destroy each other, which is a paradox in and of itself. The laws of physics tell us that two objects cannot occupy the same space at the same time. It's physically impossible. But here in Fromville, Jade is theorizing by bringing up these paradoxes that maybe that's a possibility, that maybe it is possible that this place, this Fromville place, is occupying the same place, same occupancy as the real world is, just in a different plane of existence. And that would explain two particles in the same spot not destroying each other. So early on, we see him talking about these paradoxes that could very well potentially explain how a realm like Fromville could exist.
Okay. And you know what I think is helpful? Sometimes you hear people say the same word over and over, that it loses all meaning because it's been so misused and it's been so out there, right? So, let's simplify paradox. Paradox just means something that seems to go against rational laws, but it's
Exactly.
true. But it's true. That's all that paradox means. So it's been so overused that it seems like it's super complicated, but all it means is
It's really not.
this thing seems super weird.
Yep.
And it shouldn't be possible.
Yep.
But it's actually correct. It is reality. Something that seems impossible, but it's actually real. Now, what does that remind you of? That reminds me of Jim using the same sort of language where he says, hey, my job is to make the impossible seem real. So his job is to make a paradox feeling in the real world where you are making the impossible seem realistic, even if it's not. That's Jim's job, right? And this is showing you why this group of people are the perfect group. Jade has the knowledge and Jim specialized in this other thing, right? So together, when they came together, this foreshadowed that they would come up with the answer, that they are the type of thinkers that the town needed. Now, we agree. From seems like it's not real, but to them, they're living it. They're saying this is real. When they're talking about Schrodinger's cat, a lot of people have lost the meaning of Schrodinger's cat. Everybody picks up on the first part of it, which is when he said, if you have a cat in the box, before you open the box, the cat is simultaneously alive and dead. Right? This experiment. And so people take it to mean, oh, in quantum mechanics, it means that you can be alive and dead. You could be both things at the same time. But what he said is there's a second part to this. What he was doing, he was actually criticizing quantum mechanics, the people that believe that particles can be blurred, can be two things at the same time, can be hanging in the balance. He was criticizing them and he said, this is silly because that cat is either alive or dead. It's absurd for you to say this, that the cat, before you open the box and it's not being observed, it's both things. It's alive and dead. It's absurd, he says in his second sentence, because for the cat, it's either one or the other. That is the point of it. So the point is not that you are simultaneously both things. The point of Schrodinger's cat is that there's no way. If you're the cat, which they are the cat, they're either alive or dead, and it seems like they're alive. So I think when they talked about Schrodinger's cat in the show From, what the creator was trying to tell us is they are not in some sort of place where they are half dead and half alive. No. They're one or the other. And these people are walking, breathing, they're alive. So you can remove that from your thoughts, remove it from your ideas. They are not dead. This is not a place where they are dead and they seem alive. They are alive. Now, let's talk about the rats in a maze. So Sunflower, I think that the rats in a maze mention is the answer to From. It is the answer to From, and I'll tell you how. So he says it's a metaphor, but I think it's the answer.
Yeah.
So it's how you get out of From.
Yeah.
He says there are two different types of people. You guys are the rats in the maze. I'm the person that places the cheese, right? So
we're the ones that design the maze. Yeah.
and places the cheese, right? So basically, the person that is experimenting on the rats, right? And the rats that are the subjects of the experiment, going through a maze, going through troubles and tribulation, trying to get to this whatever obstacle goal.
Yeah.
So the answer to From is, if the rats wanted to get out of the maze, if they wanted to stop the experiment, if they wanted the person that was designing mazes for rats to stop, to let them go, because this person keeps bringing in rats. One dies and it brings another, and one dies and it brings another one right after you. If you wanted this to stop, if the rat said, hey, I don't like being in this maze and I want to get out, the answer to that would be sacrifice. It would be the rats not doing what Jade wants them to do. There is no reason to design a maze, to place cheese, if the rats all of a sudden say, I don't want to play anymore.
You don't want to play the game. Yeah.
You keep telling me to go through this maze, to do the experiment. The answer is, even if I die, I can't go get that cheese. I'm deciding to not do this. I'm deciding to sacrifice myself, and you will not ever build mazes and bring other rats in here, because eventually you're going to get the hang that the last 50 rats didn't work out. You're going to move on to another subject. You're going to leave the rats alone. The only reason why it continues, the rats in a maze, you keep bringing rats, is because they're doing it. They're doing what you want them to do.
Yeah.
The answer to From is exactly that, I believe. These people, we have seen them when food is scarce, they look out for themselves. They start storming Tien Cheng's house and getting stuff for themselves. The townspeople kill Jade because they're full of anger and hatred. The answer to getting out of From is just like the rats, saying, even if it costs me my life and 50 others, we're not going to play your game anymore, Men in Yellow. You want us to turn on each other. You want us to hurt each other, to kill each other, and to be bad, to show you that humanity is bad. We're going to sacrifice ourselves in the process of saving these children so that all of this can stop. You could stop your experiment on us. And I think eventually, you know, it's leading to a conclusion where they all die.
It's a possibility. I feel like there has definitely at least been some foreshadowing of, you know, definitely a real possibility of a lot of these characters, or all of them even dying. I don't think that's going to happen, but they have definitely at least placed things in the show to set up that possibility. Just like with the Ethan thing alone, with them, you know, putting this whole kind of storyline of Ethan trying to get prepared just in case he's the only one left alive here. Even if the show isn't going to end that way, which I don't think it will, they're at least toying with a potential possibility that Ethan is the only one left alive and everyone else is dead. So yeah, it's definitely something that the show has, you know, maneuvered, you know, regardless of whether or not it's going to really play out that way. Yeah. And again, I think one thing that's very interesting about Jade here is he talks about specifically, I'm the one that builds the maze. I place the cheese. And at this point in time, he doesn't realize how right he is. He might not have built Fromville in a sense, but you can make an argument that Jade has created the maze, and he has definitely placed the cheese along the way. You look at all of the things that the original Jade and the original Tabitha have laid out to help all of the future versions of Jade and Tabitha, the bottle trees, all of the little signs, the music notes, every little tiny clue that the original Jade and the original Tabitha have left here has essentially been kind of a metaphor for them creating the maze and placing the cheese. So all the future ones can kind of find these answers along the way. So Jade doesn't realize how right he is in this moment, saying, yeah, I am the one that creates the maze. I am the one that places the cheese. Because in a small way, he kind of is.
Yeah. What I took that to mean, what it means to me, is that he is showing us why he is the right reincarnation.
Yes.
The way
100%.
that From works is that
100%.
everybody is a rat, including Jade and including Tabitha.
He
The
can see
people
the goal.
turn on Jade. They're going to kill him. Anger and human nature is going to take over. They're going to turn on each other. Sophia loves it. She says, it always happens. And this is my favorite part. They turn on each other, right? And so what he's saying is, Not this time. I happen to be the one that can solve this because I could see the bigger picture.
Yes.
He's a
I
rat.
can see the
He's a
board.
rat in this maze. He's trying to navigate. He's trying to see what the answer is. But he's saying, you mess with the wrong one. You mess with the wrong one because I can see the bigger picture. Others couldn't. But I do this. And
Exactly.
so I'm going to be the one. What did Jay say in season 4? It all comes full circle. In season 4, Jade says, this has happened because nobody was willing to make the difficult
Necessary choices. Yeah.
So this has all been said. Since season 1, they were telling us Jade is special. Jade is able to look at the big picture. Jade is able to make the difficult choices. Jade can make it. Jade is special. This time, they're not going to fail because Jade is able to make that choice. And what is the difficult choice? The difficult choice is telling all of you, and hopefully the town people can listen to him, because it's always the town people that kill him. So we'll see.
Yeah. No, I love the setup here that we're getting from, again, and this is what's so fun about doing these rewatches. You see these awesome foreshadowings and this setup for all of these things where these characters are saying what seems to be these innocuous lines in season 1 that we just didn't have a lot of context or meaning for when we first saw them watching season 1. But now here we are all these seasons later, we learn about Jade, the role he plays, the reincarnation, all the clues that they have kind of laid along the way. Again, all of these lines start to make just so much more sense. And you kind of understand what the creators were saying when they say the answers to a lot of this stuff is right there in that first episode and in that first season in particular, because it is, we're seeing a lot of foreshadowings for massive things that turn out to be huge storylines get laid right here in these first few episodes. So yeah, I love that. I love the metaphor of Jade kind of, being the one that creates the maze, that places the cheese, that, we're finally getting to the point where this Jade is the right one that's actually going to be able to solve this, where all of the previous Jades didn't really see the board the way that he can see the board. And yeah, I just feel like we finally have the right group of people in this cycle, the right mix that is what we need to finally solve this thing, where none of the previous cycles had the right mix. They didn't have the right Jade. They didn't have a Boyd, maybe. They didn't have the right Tabitha, or whatever the right Tabitha is. But yeah, again, it's so interesting to see these earlier episodes and just how much they really do foreshadow. Yeah, look, Clara went for the cheese. Henry went for the cheese. Again, you see the characters that go for the cheese, it doesn't work out very well for them at the end of the day, for sure.
Yeah. Goddamn Henry. Goddamn Henry went for the provolone cheese. He legit went for the provolone cheese.
Oh my God.
Goddamn Henry. I'm telling you, there is symbolism all throughout the show. There is symbolism
is everywhere.
Full circle. We come full circle on the cheese, you guys. We come full circle on the cheese. Look at him holding that cheese. This is me right now. Jade's face. That is me right now. Literally, what got Henry convinced? He was like, I might smother him, but it was the cheeseburger, cheese
The
from home,
fucking
that he was like,
provolone.
I like this, son. I'll go kill the other one. I like the way you think. He was like, son, provolone from home, I love the way that you think. And guess what? I will smother him. I'll smother him as soon as I get back to the other world. So yes, literally, you see the Claras who make a bargain. That's going for the cheese.
Don't go
Now,
for the fucking cheese, guys.
Henry legit went for the provolone cheese. And right
Henry
after
went
that,
right
he's like,
for it.
I'm going to stay with the son that offers me a cheeseburger. The other one has nothing to offer me. I'm going to kill him. He
Yeah.
straight up was going to kill his own child. And then 2, it is now that we can see the big picture, you guys, right before this, what is Jade being offered? Like a little rat, Jade has been offered a piece of cheese.
A piece of
in the
cheese, and he
form-
denies it.
in the form of Trudy. He was a little rat, and he's in the maze, and
Yeah.
she was like, here's some cheese,
Piece of
come and get it.
cheese. Nope.
Come and get it. And what did he say? No,
I
thank
don't
you.
want
I'm
your
busy.
moldy cheese. I don't want your moldy
I'm
cheese.
busy. I have things to do. You know what I mean? But other people, the alcohol, they go for the cheese. Taking TM Chen's rations, not working together. That is all going for the cheese. The minute that you are doing for yourself, you're playing the game that the man in yellow loves. He loves watching you turn on each other. He loves it. So that is what it is. It's them having to say, I'm not going to play anymore. I'm not going to go for the cheese. I'm not going to go for what's easy. I'm going to focus in on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't go for the cheese, guys. You don't want to go for the cheese. You want to be Jade. You want to be the one that places the cheese.
Even if it comes from home. Even if it's provolone and comes from home, you say no. You say no to whoever offers you cheese. Say no to cheese.
You say no.
I'm starting a new campaign. Say no to cheese.
Say no to cheese. Yeah, you want to be the cheese placer, not the cheese eater. Make sure you remember that. No, I love it. And again, it's even though, we have fun and, make jokes with things like this, the foreshadowing and the symbolism is there. Like it is 100% what looks like anyway, pretty clear kind of symbolism for some of those things that we'll see later on, the cheese, placing the cheese, the maze, all the clues that the earlier Jade set up. Yeah, guys, don't go for the cheese. Don't be a Henry. Be a Jade. Don't be a Henry. Be a Jade. Yeah, we need a cheese. Yeah, we might need a cheese emoji now. I mean, I know we have the stock cheese emoji, but stock emojis aren't fun, right? We want a custom one.
We want a slice of provolone.
We need a
First
provolone.
of all, that's cheddar. The cheese emoji is cheddar.
That's cheddar. Yeah.
Henry wouldn't turn on nobody for cheddar. Okay, he's
Cheddar's
not going to do
not
it.
enough. Yeah, I mean,
Cheddar's not enough.
If you're gonna kill your kid, it's gonna have to be over some provolone. It can't be cheddar or jacked or anything like that. It's got to be provolone or bust.
Not even melted, you guys. It was
it's got to be pocket provolone as well.
Cold pocket provolone. It wasn't even melted. It was just cold cheese on top of that burger.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than that. There is nothing worse than a cold piece of cheese laid on a fresh burger, right off the grill or wherever you're getting it from. There's nothing worse than that. You need your cheese melted.
You need to melt your cheese. You need to melt your cheese.
Melt your cheese. Words to live by. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, the man in yellow is going to come in town in the white van selling some provolone cheese. Maybe that is what the original man in yellow was, the human that the man in yellow took over. Maybe he was a cheese salesman. We already got the milkman. Oh, man. Provolone, guys. Provolone. Do you guys think Victor has powers of some sort? And if he does, do you think it would be... What do you think it would be? I don't know. I don't know if Victor has like any powers per se. Essentially, I feel like we probably would have gotten maybe some hints and some foreshadowings of that up by now, like maybe some small instances where we see Victor doing something that's kind of like unexplainable. So I'm not really expecting Victor to have any like powers, quote unquote powers. Does he have knowledge? Yes. Could he start having visions or or something along those lines? Maybe. But no, I really feel like Victor's role for the most part is the historian of Fromville. He's the memory of this place. And I think that's, his, not only his purpose, but all of the Victor's purposes. Everyone that's had that kind of Victor archetype kind of character that Ethan seems to be taking over now. That's kind of how I see Victor. He's more of the historian, the memory of Fromville, the keeper of the lore, if you will. But could he develop like actual real powers, or does he have like real powers? I don't know. Again, I feel like we maybe would have seen a little example of that up at, already, 4 seasons in. But you never know what a show like this is going to do in their final season either.
Yeah, I think that Victor Powers really lies in his courage. If he can be courageous and overcome the severe trauma, which is a big ask, okay? He was talking to teddy bears dressed as mom. He's severely traumatized. Whenever there's a teddy bear dressed as mom, red flag, severely traumatized. So his power lies in being courageous in order to help somebody else, another little boy, from having the same fate. And I think
Yep.
that he is gathering up that courage because he really cares for Ethan and he doesn't want to see Ethan suffer. That is
Yep.
where his power lies. And hopefully he will be able to overcome it. But Sunflower says this was a great discussion on the cheese topic. And thank you. Thank you very much. Boots on the ground journalism. This is what we're talking about. We talk about the serious topics. We ask the questions that nobody's asking. Okay.
You got to ask the tough questions every once in a while, right? I mean, if you know, we don't do it, who will? Got to ask these
Who
tough
will?
questions.
Who will, Jeremy?
Who's
Nobody is
who's
brave
bring up
enough
the
to talk about the provolone.
Yeah, who's going to talk about, you know, as where was it? Yeah, nothing worse than you know, sweaty, lukewarm cheese on your burger, right? I mean, who's going to bring up these topics if we won't? Absolutely, got to. Man, you guys are fucking great. Absolutely great. Yeah, this was this is very true in reality as well, MG. It is. Hence why she was pissed when Clara didn't tell her it was Jade and Tabby going into the caves. They need to work together. And again, we saw that Sophia was very, very verklempt, very perturbed, I guess you could say, when she found this out. This was something that was not in her plan. She wasn't planning for Jade and Tabitha to go down into those caves herself. They need to work together. I'm 100% with you. I feel like they're only working together are they going to be able to solve all of this. And not just Jade and Tabitha, but all of them. They all need to work as one unit, sharing information, using each other's knowledge, using each other's skills. And I do think Julie's story walking is going to be one of those skills that they're going to have to use. But yeah, it's only going to work if they work together, 100%. And I think that's why Sophia was so nervous when she found this information out from Clara. It's like, okay, I don't think Sophia wants Jade and Tabitha doing this stuff directly themselves, because I think Sophia knows that's the best chance Jade and Tabitha have of actually winning. And he don't want to lose. He does not want to lose to them now, not after all the wins he's got in his belt. But
that's right. How far are we in the episode?
Around a little more than 20 minutes in, little under halfway. We have this scene, and then of course we have the Schrodinger's cat scene, which we already kind of discussed a little bit. So we can continue to go forward, shall we? Oh, okay. We also have this scene right here, and it's nothing too much, but this is actually the first scene that I can remember where the fast healing is actually talked about, like actually brought up in the narrative itself, where Tabitha is noticing that Ethan is healing super fast. Now, and this was something that was definitely a lot more prevalent in the earlier seasons before the characters really started pushing too hard to get answers. But in the beginning, a lot of us started noticing that it seemed like certain characters, not every character, but certain characters were healing faster than others. And it seemed like the ones that were healing faster were the ones that weren't looking for answers. Whereas the ones that were looking for answers, like Jim, didn't heal fast at all. Jim had that freaking limp in his leg for like 2 fucking seasons straight, where Ethan healed super quick. And they're not the only examples. We've seen other examples of characters that aren't looking for answers healing super fast, like Ellis after getting stabbed in his freaking lung, literally the next day on his feet, like he's fine. So that was something that a lot of people noticed early on, that there might be something to this healing.
Mm-hmm. Now, we talked about this before, but just to touch on it briefly, this is where the spider comes in, because there's a lot of folk tales. There's a lot of different traditions, indigenous people and deities, that when they use the spider symbolism, or the deities that represent a spider, they represent healing and protection. So we don't associate the spider with this sort of thing. When we see a spider, we tend to take it towards a negative thing. But there's a lot of folktales, like the Hopi, the Pueblo nations, different folktales, like the Mexicans have one too, where a spider does not represent anything evil or dangerous physically. It's healing. It actually has healing power, right?
Healing,
and
knowledge,
strength and community. So I think that that's where the healing is coming from. I believe that in this town, there is an entity that is trying to assist them, or the children are representative of this entity that are trying to assist, and they're trying to physically help them as much as possible to provide them healing. Just like Sophia can provide them with their blood and make them sick, this other entity can give them healing power.
Yeah.
And Anna mentions here, African mythology has healing spider deities.
Healing spiders. Yeah.
I mean,
Nancy,
there's so many.
We did the video not too long ago on Nancy, the spider deity, and everything that spider deity represents, which is, like you said, healing, resurrection, knowledge. Like spiders stand for so much more than just a symbol of fear.
Yes. Yes. So what you guys are mentioning in the chat, I'll take it from you. There are a lot of different folk tales, a lot of different people in the world that have different deities representative of this idea. And it's a positive one. It's a healing one.
Yeah.
I think in the modern time America, we don't think of spiders as healers, but so I think that's where it's coming from. Mm-hmm.
I think it's very plausible. I think it's definitely possible. I like the idea of it maybe being the children as well, because it seems like the only people that aren't getting healed are the ones that are trying to escape. They're trying to escape and not solve the quest of saving the children. The ones that are doing what they're supposed to be doing, they are benefiting from this healing factor. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, like you said, some kind of spider deity that's actually trying to help them, or if it's even the children directly. Just based on who's getting healed and who's not getting healed. It seems like only the people that are trying to escape this place are the ones that aren't healing. So no, I could totally see it being either the children or some other kind of entity that is looking over them. For sure.
Yeah. They're like, girl, what are you doing? Get back here and save me. Now, you know what I was thinking about? I'm talking about the children. And we have Jen, the teacher, in the chat. Hello, Jen. Welcome. What I was thinking, a lot of people, we got kind of hung up on the idea of how do you revive children that are dead? Where do you take them? You have to revive them. We were never, I feel like we're getting hung up on the wrong thing. Okay. Nobody ever told us that we need to revive the children. They said, go to the tower.
No, I don't think that was ever the thing. It was save the children. I don't think it was ever like actually resurrect them.
We don't have to resurrect. We don't have to bring them back to life. I think it's because they keep asking the question of how do you say something that's dead? Yeah. I think that is a way of distracting us from the fact that the boy in white never said to revive them. He just said, save them, go to the tower to save the children. And saving may be just releasing them from this place. Exactly. Salvation for the people, for the townspeople, would mean you letting them leave here. That would be salvation, even for the dead. Yeah. Even for the people that have died here, salvation represents allowing them to leave this place. So I think that's the goal. All we're looking for is to destroy From. That's why From is not going to be standing at the end of this, because what we're looking for everybody, including the children, we want to destroy the cage, the maze that has been made for us.
Everything in it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
100%. No, right. I always figured that saving the children was never, and that's why I know when Julie's story walking ability popped up, one of the big theories was, okay, Julie's going to have to go back in time and stop the sacrifice from happening. I don't think that's the case. I never thought that was going to be the case. The sacrifice happened. It happened, and that's not going to get undone. Saving the children to me was always, saving their souls, saving, putting them to rest, letting them find peace instead of being in this tortured in-between existence that they seem to be in, where they're dead and stuck in this kind of ghost-like state. I don't think these children were ever going to get resurrected or anything like that. It seems like they need to save their souls. That just seems the most plausible. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I always thought as well. So I agree, 100% agree with you. It's giving them peace, letting them move on, and not just them, as you mentioned, also everybody else that's stuck here as well. All of these souls that have been trapped here, that have died here in horrendous ways, that are just stuck. They will come with you when you go. And I think that's why we get that foreshadowing from Jade very early on in the series, where he's talking to Tien Chen. And then later on when Tien Chen dies as well, it's the last thing Jade says to her. Don't worry, you'll come with us when we go. So yeah, I think it's very much along those lines, giving all of these dead and tortured souls, the children including, peace and rest, and a way for them to move on, finally be at rest and be at peace. But who knows? I guess we'll see what the save the children really means eventually. We will find out soon, ladies and gents. One season left. And let me get through some of these real quick. We've got a few jewels coming in. We got Uncler from Catherine. Thank you so much for the 440 jewels. We got another Uncler for 440 jewels from D-Dord as well. Thank you so much, D-Dord. Very much appreciated. We got 200 jewels from Minerva, throwing out the jammin'. We be jammin'. Love jammin'. Love me some Bob Marley.
Yeah.
We got Katrina Marie for 499 super chat. Thank you so much, Katrina Marie. Fatima quote this episode: "There are always going to be monsters no matter where you are, but I promised myself that they would never scare the life out of me." Oh, interesting, Katrina Marie. And yeah, I mean, you're right. She does have that line. And how kind of foreshadowing is that? One of those, I guess you consider that, it's one of those lines that didn't age very well, if nothing else, for Fatima. And I think that has always been part of Fatima's kind of, not like story arc, but at least part of her kind of character where, she's always been kind of reserved, but towards the beginning of season 2 and on, we slowly see her start to kind of lose it a little bit more and more, where Ellis is starting to become really worried about her. And I feel like that's part of Fatima's kind of struggle, not succumbing to the monster inside of her, not kind of completely losing it and snapping in this place. So yeah, I think there was a part of her that always kind of wanted to remain grounded, not turn into any kind of monster. But unfortunately, that's what she ended up turning into. So no, that's a very interesting kind of foreshadowing line there from Fatima in this episode. Scaring the life out of me. Indeed. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay, and we also have Anna for 100 jewels as well. Wow, thank you so much, Anna, for the 100 jewels and the Sunday. Very much appreciate it. And I owe you guys, all of you guys, a whoa. Whoa. But yeah, I find that very interesting for that to be a pretty kind of, foreshadowing line for Fatima, talking about, promised myself that they would never scare the life out of me. And slowly and surely, that's kind of what happens.
Yeah. I think that this is foreshadowing to how her story ends, Katrina Marie. This is going to come full circle. And even though she has been through a couple of things that have been difficult for her, I do believe that this is how her story ends.
Yep.
She is not going to allow the monsters and what they have done to her scare her to the point where she wants to live at whatever cost. Because she could choose. I believe that it's going to come down to a situation where, because she's in between a monster and a human, the longer that she allows this to continue, the more that she will live like a monster. She's going to have to, be alive, but in that form most of the time, if not all of the time. She's not going to be able to control it like she does now. And I think that this is how her story ends. She's going to have the courage to say, you know what? I'm not going to let you scare the life out of me, the human life out of me. I would rather die a human than be so afraid of dying that I live like a monster. She would rather die as a human than live like a monster. And it's going to come down to her choosing how she goes, just like Boyd said. The time will come where the only choice we have to make is how we leave, how we exit this place in the sense of living or dying, how we die. I think that she's going to have the courage to die a honorable death where she feels that she has control of her body and that she's not going to succumb because of the fear to what they have done to her. She's not going to allow them to keep her as a monster. And I think it's going to be emotional. It's going to be, I was never like super fan of the relationship or the romantic story there between Ellis or Fatima. But I think if it comes down to him having to assist her and suicide, that's gonna be so difficult.
It's
That's
gonna
gonna be
be
so sad.
Ellis stepping into Boyd's shoes. It's gonna be Ellis having to do what Boyd had to do for his wife. Different circumstances, but same end result, I think. And you know, and that's exactly what I talked a little bit about this in my video yesterday. But I think Fatima's storyline is very much becoming the golem. She is the golem now. Yes, she might have a little bit of control of this monster nature in the beginning, and she uses that to save Ellis, to save everybody in those caves. And we see, you know, the trajectory of the golems themselves. Fatima spends all this time in season 4 trying to build this golem, to build this champion to protect the town, only for herself to literally become the golem, to become that champion. But we all know how the golem story ends. At the beginning, it's under control. But slowly and surely, as the season goes on, as the final season goes on, we're going to see Fatima slip closer and closer into just full-on monster territory, and to the point where we're going to have to see Ellis put her down. And I think it's going to be in a very similar way where Boyd had to take out Abby. We're going to have to see Ellis step into those shoes. That's ultimately where I see Fatima's storyline ending. I mean, she doesn't have a happy ending coming. I feel like her trajectory is fully on mirroring that of the golem at this point. And yeah, it's going to be a very sad, emotional scene when we see Ellis have to put Fatima down, which I do think it'll have to be Ellis that does it. It's going to be sad because then it puts Ellis in Boyd's shoes as well, which is something Ellis needs to experience for himself. That was the first thing that happened with Boyd and Ellis right after Boyd killed his mother. Ellis was incredibly judgmental. He completely blamed his father, hated his father for a long time afterwards, because he didn't fully realize what his father was forced to do in that moment. This puts Ellis in Boyd's shoes and finally brings that whole story full circle, where Ellis finally realizes, okay, I understand why my dad did what he had to do. I understand the choice that he had to make, because now I have to make this same choice. So yeah, I think we're heading for a sad ending for Fatima. She's the golem. She is headed for one, because there's no way she's going to be turned back into a human. There's no way she's going to leave Fromville as a monster. At this point, I feel like it's all but sealed for Fatima that she's going to kind of have to get put down there towards the end, as she's less and less control of her human side. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see. And if you guys have not checked out that video, definitely check it out. It's one of the most recent ones I put up on the channel. And it also goes into a little bit of that season 5 promo video that Boyd, Harold Perrineau, kind of put out the other day as well, talking about the top 5 unanswered questions heading into season 5. Some of which were good, and some of which were not so much top 5 worthy, in my opinion. But nonetheless, fun discussion either way. Though we know she was tainted by Sophia's blood via Clara. But the thing about Sophia's blood coming into contact with Fatima in season 4, it didn't seem like it was introduced into her to change her in any way. It seemed like that was only meant to speed up the process. And we hear Sophia talk about this. She says she's got a few games that she's playing right now, but 1 or 2 of them need to be sped up. So I think when Sophia fed Fatima her blood via Clara, it wasn't so much to turn Fatima into something else. I don't think that blood turned her into the monster or is going to turn her into anything different. I think it just sped up the process. It just turned Fatima into a monster that much quicker. And again, I think that's why we get that line from Sophia saying, I got to speed some of these things up. The blood just seemed to, hasten it. I don't think the blood's going to change her fate. I think it just ensured her fate that much faster, is what it seemed like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where are we in the episode?
Ethan, we're just hearing that Ethan is healing fast. But again, that kind of becomes a trend. And then we see that Sarah, okay, here we get the setup for Sarah wanting to take Ethan to the merry-go-round, which, again, we know where this is heading. Unfortunately, Sarah is well in the thrall of whatever is controlling her at this point. And then, I mean, I suppose we can skip over this part. It's just them two on the merry-go-round. We'll come back to them. But I suppose we can skip this part. Then we see Fatima showing Julie the Brundles. Not too much here. Again, we saw earlier in this episode that Julie is kind of getting to the point where she's starting to maybe regret her choice that she made with Fatima and Ellis. And I think that was very evident. Well, I think it was very evident that Julie made the wrong decision in episode 4, in the previous episode, when Fatima comes up to Julie and she sees Julie is very distraught, kind of sad, can tell that she's missing her family. And Julie says, I don't know if I made the right choice. And Fatima said, it was, I don't know, it just came off as very irresponsible. Fatima says, you made the only choice that you can make for yourself, and it was the right one. And I just thought that was so wrong. I'm like, you're not talking to some adult that's trying to kind of start their life off anew in some great place. This is a child, a 16-year-old child that is stuck in this nightmarish, hellish landscape with nobody but her family. And you think the best advice to give her is to separate, is to split from her family? That's the best choice she could have made for herself? I thought it was the worst fucking advice I have ever heard anybody give a child. So after I heard that, I was like, fuck Fatima.
Fatima, along with Donna, was the number one pusher of Julie being a Colony House.
Donna too.
I don't think it's right. I think you're 100% right. That is the worst advice I've ever heard. And also, let's remember that she was there when Colony House Massacre happens. And she is only saved not because of Fatima looking and screaming, Julie, where are you? No. Who is Fatima screaming for? Ellis. Ellis, where are you, babe? And Ellis is looking for Fatima. Nobody's looking for Julie other than Victor watching out for her. And it only happened to be because she went downstairs. So Julie, if Julie had been slaughtered in the Colony House Massacre, Fatima wouldn't have taken any responsibility. Her parents would have been like, I told you so. I told you this was not a safe place for my daughter, and they would not have been held responsible. I don't think that that is right. I don't think that's the best environment. I think that it was very weird. A lot of us felt uncomfortable with the entire thing. A lot of us felt uncomfortable with Fatima putting in these ideas to the point where a lot of us were saying, I'm just getting grooming. That's all I'm getting, grooming, where they get this young girl and empower her by saying, oh, you're old enough to make choices. You're making the right choice. And it's like, no, clearly she's a child. She needs to go home to her mother. And when Colony House happens, I find it really funny that Fatima is not screaming, Julie, where are you? Because Julie's nowhere to be found. She's screaming for Ellis, and Ellis is looking out for Fatima. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And Fatima is another rat that takes the cheese. The cheese is the weed. The cheese is her relationship with Ellis, where they are pretending that they are in some other fairy tale world where all they have is like their love and nothing else matters. Open relationship. I mean, she is a rat that's taking the cheese. She's taking the cheese and she's happy to be inside the maze. There's all kinds of rats, just like Jade says. This is the rat that's waltzing around saying, I'm actually quite happy. Let's go get some cheese, babe. It's like, come on, Fatima. But yes, I think it was wrong. I'm never going to forgive Donna for that. I don't care if Donna has turned it around. I'm never going to forgive for the way that she took that child from their mother in such an aggressive way. And Fatima for saying, you made the right choice for you. You're talking to a child. If she died at Colony House Massacre, you wouldn't have said anything to her mother. You wouldn't have been responsible. I mean, hate it.
I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it so much. Because I only can picture like if Julie was my kid and you know, I was apart from her. And not only that, apart from her knowing that the sheriff assured me, don't worry, my son is up there. He'll look after her. That was the first fucking thing Boyd said to the Matthews family. Don't worry, my son Ellis is up there. He's going to look after her. Boyd was confident enough that his son was at least look after Julie.
Boyd, your son didn't even take care of his own damn self, okay? Boyd
couldn't even take care of himself.
Take care of nothing. Remember when he thinks he's gonna die, he asks Kenny, look after my family. He's like, look after my kid. Literally, Kenny. He's like, I know he can't take care of himself.
Yeah.
Kenny, can you take care of him? Get out of here with that.
Get the fuck out of here. What are you saying? Fucking beat it. Yeah, no, it was infuriating. It was such an infuriating scene to listen to this and to watch that and to just hear Fatima just spit all this fucking nonsense into Julie's ear during a time when Julie's incredibly vulnerable and incredibly susceptible to outside manipulation. Like at that age, at that moment where she's very vulnerable, wondering if she made the right choice or not. Like that's the time where you need some solid, good, parental advice, not whatever the fuck Fatima's feeding her. It was just so infuriating to listen to Fatima, talk to Julie like this. And it does come off a little bit like a little bit of grooming, a little bit of grooming.
A lot of us were saying that because we didn't yet know them. All we were seeing is clear evidence of bad decision making and really strange choices being made here. Yeah. That's what we're seeing. And it doesn't make it any better. I'll tell you, knowing the characters now, going back, it still doesn't make it better. I will never forgive Donna. If that was Donna and she's trying to take my daughter, oh, it's on, Donna. I don't care about the town rules. You and me, it's on. I don't care if you're way bigger than me. I'm going to take you down.
It's on site. It's on site.
It's on site, Donna. How dare you, you weirdo.
Fatima too. It's on site.
Fatima too.
No, 100%. And again, as Anna brings up, who's the fucking real one? Who's the actual real adult in Colony House when all this shit fucking pops down and everybody's getting killed left and right? Who looks out for Julie? Who makes sure she gets out of there safe? Fucking Victor. Not to mention, Victor, the one that Julie was calling creepy the whole first half of the season. He doesn't care. He doesn't care if you're calling him creepy. He still wants to save your life because we know the kind of person that Victor is. He's a good person. So Victor's the real one. Victor's 100% the real one.
Amen. Victor is the real one. He's not drinking. He's not smoking.
Nope.
His only sin is eating too many peaches. That is his only sin. And also he offered her peaches. He was like, dude, this is special. I only get peaches. Do you want some? So he was offering her food, and he's the one that was, well enough and aware enough at the time of the massacre that he was sober enough to think quickly, and he allowed her to go with him. And so that really shows you. I mean, when that happened, I thought, Julie, why do you have to learn the lesson the hard way? You had to go through a massacre to lesson that this is a scary town and you probably should be with your mom and dad, that this is not the time for teenage rebellion. I would have, if I was, Tabitha, hey, were you looking for my kid? Because I didn't hear you screaming out for Julie. She told me that Victor saved her. Where were you, Donna? Because you told me you would take care of her, that you were big mama in this house. And what happened? Were you looking for her? No, you didn't. So, I mean, they're so lucky that she was calm, but it does kind of bring us to this other little section, because Jim is outspoken and he actually has a lot to say to Boyd when they are acting like it's no big deal that Sarah tried to kill his child, that they were going to find her. Jim speaks up.
Jim has a massive problem with it. And I love that. I love how Jim kind of steps up and takes charge in that moment and just goes right the fuck up to Boyd. No hesitation. Tried to kill my kid. I love how, and again, I know Jim's not always a huge fan favorite with everybody, but I've always liked Jim. Yes, he's a little overbearing sometimes, and he's made plenty of mistakes, both as a husband and as a father. But you can't deny he will do anything and everything it takes to protect his children. And when he sees them in danger like this, I do like seeing Jim step up in that moment and becoming that, that fatherly protector. that is his job. That's his role in life now, to protect his children. And he does it to the best of his ability. And again, everybody makes mistakes. But yeah, I love Jim in that scene. Again, it's just funny. It's very funny to see, when the chips are down, when shit is really hitting the fan, we're seeing Ellis isn't looking after her. Fatima certainly isn't looking after her. Donna isn't looking after her. It's fucking Victor. Victor, the one person that she's been calling creepy again for the first half of the season. It just shows you deep down sometimes who some of these characters really are. And I think that's kind of why from the very beginning on, I was never a big fan of Fatima. I just think she was incredibly fucking irresponsible in this first season from top to bottom.
And you know what? Julie could call him creepy because to her, he is creepy. She's a child. She's a child. So to her, every stranger should be stranger danger. Okay. I think the egregious thing when it comes to Victor is that the chat is saying that the chat knows all. And the chat is fucking him. Jim was put at the bar to get drunk because he can't handle it. So I do like Jim. I like Jim. He has beautiful blue eyes too, and that does help.
No, I mean, I've always liked Jim as a character. I always thought he was a pretty fascinating, interesting character. And even with all his flaws, I think it's characters like Jim that have these kind of flaws that make these characters so much better in the first place. I mean, if a character is just perfect from top to bottom, that doesn't offer much nuance, that doesn't offer much struggle. There's not much to learn there and to gain. It's these flawed characters that you can learn a little bit more from. And Jim's great. I very much felt Jim's absence in season 4 very early on too. It didn't take very long before I was like, holy shit, I kind of miss Jim. Jim's not here. Like, the show just doesn't feel the fucking same anymore. By the time I was into like episode 2 or 3, I was already feeling that, like, damn, I want fucking Jim back. Jim was a good part of the show.
Jim was a good part of the show. I'm Jim's lawyer. Yeah, I mean, I am. He reminds me of my husband, so I like Jim. But can we talk about, now that we're on the Jim subject, there's a part in this episode where he comes up to Boyd and he says, you guys are acting, when he's upset that there was an attempt made on his child's life, he comes up to Boyd and he says, you guys are acting like this is Mayberry.
Yes.
Can we play that a little bit? Because I have 100%. A whole thing to show you on that.
Okay, 100%. Yeah, I believe it's this scene right here when he comes up to Cautry and Boyd, right? Yeah. Okay, let's play this scene out and let's fucking love Jim.
Love that man.
Scene. I love the see,
love again, Angry Jim.
Good fucking character, because that's what I would be saying too. I mean, yes, he's only been here for a few days, but still, you're in this crazy fucking place and you're looking at all of these people around you just playing house like this is some gated, closed fucking community. This isn't fucking Mayberry, USA. Why are we not doing more to get the fuck out of here? I love Jim in this fucking scene.
Love
One
the
big
attitude.
family, is that what you said? Are you fucking kidding me?
One big family. And so I have something on this, you guys. And here is, a new little theory. So let me go ahead and show you what I have on here. Just a minute. Here we go.
Great scene. Great fucking scene.
This is what I have put together for you guys.
Ooh,
so
okay.
The chat is asking, because a lot of us were not familiar with Mayberry Street. We were like, what is this Mayberry that they're talking
on
about?
Mayberry Street. Yeah.
What are they talking about? And so I did some research. I completely missed it on the first, third, and fourth, and fifth rewatch of this. I thought it wasn't important. But now I follow the trail. Mayberry Street comes from a show, the Andy Griffith Show. If you are not familiar, I was not. Now, the Andy Griffith Show was an all-American little town. Yep. So when people thought about an all-American small town, that's what it was. Yep. Mayberry. So we know that we see in from the same sort of vibe where it's Americana. It is, the monsters are dressed like the people in Mayberry. Yep. So let's talk about the time period. Mayberry, the show, and the Town, Andy Griffith Show,
60s,
happened
right?
from 1960 to 1971. 1960 to 1971. That is the timing where people like Victor, people like Christopher and Miranda would have associated when you ask them, what is the all-American town full of nice people look like? They would have chosen from.
Victor was
The
likely
Monsters.
born. Victor was likely born right around 1965 or so. So that would have been like right around when he was born and growing up and seeing things like Mayberry. 100%.
When you think about good people, when you think about all-American nice people that help each other and a good town, you think of Mayberry. And that is the same time period that Victor would have associated Mayberry with good people. Now, let's take a look at the characters that Mayberry has. So like I said, Mayberry is a small town. And in this small town, you have a sheriff. So you have your Boyd. You have these ladies. Look at the smile on this lady. If I put her in a headband, that lady could be the headband lady. Look at the smile. The women always walk around smiling. It's always about being happy, being good neighbors. Look, they're always smiling. So these two women just having a conversation, but being, super nice, super happy. Look at that. This lady could be a monster. And look at this one. Does it remind you of anybody? The shopping lady with her little purse?
Totally. Fucking totally.
The hairdos.
Yeah.
They also have a milkman. This is the milkman. Look at him. He looks just like our milkman. They have a cowboy. So there's a lot that I wasn't able to fit in the picture, but they have a cowboy that looks just like our cowboy. This is the mechanic. The mechanic is a little sloppy, a little big, and that is the same way that they have tried to depict the one in From in the town. This is the vibe of what they associated with the mechanic, a nice, jolly guy. Now, look at this is the most telling. They have teenagers too. You know how we see all of the teenagers, the cheerleader, they have all of those. They have young people.
Cheerleader. We see the varsity kind of high school kid that talks to Julie. The young monster. Yeah.
Exactly. And here we do have the most telling. There's a couple of brides in the show, but look at the style of the wedding dress. So you can date a lot of time period costuming by the wedding dresses because there's nothing that changes as severe as wedding dresses and fashion. You could date them. In the 1960s through the 70s, this is the type of veil that they would use. It was a dress that was all the way covered up, right? You couldn't show any of your neck. So you see both brides have covered up to their neck, long sleeves, but the veil had a lot of flowers in the front and a big, big veil that would cover your face. And when you pulled it down, it would be like covering all of you up at the front. If you look at these two dresses, these two, look, she even has the bow with the little thing around the dress, the bow and the little thing around the dress. Do you see this? They even have the same cover up on top of the dress with the bow up at the front and the flowers. This is very telling that is the Mayberry. They're mentioning it because that is what From is being modeled after.
Totally.
Now, the creators of From, they're also from a time period where they would have watched the Andy Griffith Show. When they think all-American town, they would think of this town. So I believe that the town From, the aesthetics that we're getting directly, Jim is 100%. He's right on the money. It is so Mayberry. It is legit Mayberry. He is right.
So Mayberry.
He is right. All of this stuff, he is 100% right. Now, 100%. Why are the monsters dressed like this? That has been a question that we have been asking ourselves because we know that the town is older than the 1960s. So why are they dressed like this? And this is my theory. The monsters don't always look like this. They haven't always looked like this. No. Based on the people, based on the group of people, of townspeople that will be occupying the town for that round, they're going to depict what most of the residents would think of the all-American nice town.
The
So whatever
quintessential
you think.
small town America.
Exactly. So the last round was the 1970s, and people were arriving through there. So people at that time would have associated Mayberry Town as the nicest people. So that is what the town used. We're going to depict ourselves in this sort of way, right? The quintessential nice town.
We want
That's
to
going to
present
change.
ourselves as welcoming. I mean, the ultimate idea
Yeah.
for these monsters are to lure people in. And what better way to
So-
do that than to adopt the quintessential American look? You're one. I love that, PM. I
This
think
is why
spot
they're
on.
dressed this way. So a lot of people thought 1950s,
think you're
but it's
spot
not.
on.
It is Mayberry. They're modeled after Mayberry because most of those people probably watch that show. So what the
100%.
town
Don Griffin,
knows,
you think he didn't
they
watch
know
the
you're-
Andy Griffith show?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
but also most of the town. I think that the town of From, they gather what you have in your mind as the quintessential nice people, and they adopt it.
Yeah.
Now, Victor is still alive. That's why the monsters are still dressed like this. Once Victor passes away, who
That
is the last
previous cycle.
resident from the 1970s,
Yep.
and Ethan is going through trauma and all of this, I believe that the monsters will then choose another reflection. If it kept going, I don't think that this is going to keep going.
No,
Would
this
choose
is the last.
another reflection of what the all-American town would be.
In
So-
Ethan's mind, in Ethan's generation.
And that's actually an interesting question.
Yeah.
If you had to pick from Ethan's point of view the all-American town, who would you choose?
Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you have something like this, something like Mayberry, it's so much, more distinguishable, so much more identifiable, because this was the quintessential, American dream. Nowadays, in Ethan days, there really isn't that kind of one set quintessential American kind of dream anymore. It's not as kind of like, clear as it was back then. So no,
Well,
that's actually a really
maybe-
good question. What would Ethan's version of an idealistic kind of town and family look like?
Maybe they will take on the dress of his books, his fairy tales,
Could
of
see that.
heroes,
Totally.
heroes, and all of that, that sort
Totally.
of thing.
Yeah.
So I do believe that in the past, let's say in the Civil War time, because we know that this took place during the Civil War, there was a round that was being played and from.
Yep.
They would have depicted, the monsters wouldn't have been wearing this, but they would have been wearing corsets and long dresses. They
Pioneer
would have been wearing uniforms. They
Yeah.
would have been wearing, the ladies would have been with their hair completely, done, braided in a bun. So
Yeah.
they will take on whatever you deem respectable and welcoming.
Yeah.
And that is why Mayberry is what we're looking at in this round. Once
In this
Victor
round,
dies,
because
once
Victor's
Victor dies,
Yeah.
exactly. Once Victor dies, it's gonna be whatever Ethan and the people of From
and
now
this generation.
believe to be, the ideal town. Which Mr. Roger comes to mind. Mr. Rogers'
Mr.
neighborhood
Rogers,
comes to
Yes,
mind.
I feel like that might be a little before Ethan's time, but that's definitely spot on with
But the other people,
with like Jade and Tabitha's time. Perfect. Mr. Rogers would be the perfect kind
Sesame
of
Street.
Sesame
The
Street.
next one, if they survive, it wouldn't be Mayberry, it would be Sesame Street.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers kind of style, kind of American kind of town. Definitely 100%. It would be just the more modernized version of a Mayberry, which is very much Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street and those kinds of things. No, I love it. Again, and you look at all these parallels here, it so is Mayberry, like down to the aesthetics, the hairstyles, the facial expressions. Everything that we're seeing here is looks like it was pulled right out of Mayberry.
I
So
mean, look
love
at that bow. This is the
I
most
love
telling.
This is
I keep
perfect.
going back to the wedding dress, but like I said, if you
All
want
of
to
it's
date
great.
something, you go by a wedding dress because that is what changes the most with fashion. And she has a little bow here and a cover up. long sleeve, and she has the little bow and the cover up long sleeve. So back in that time, if you were having a church wedding, you had to have this third piece. You had a dress at the bottom that you could wear to your dinner, but you had to be covered fully, your hands and your neck. So they would put this little thing with the bow up at the front. This little cover up, and they both have it, and they both have this veil that goes all the way down. So when you're looking at this, that's the shopping lady. This is the lovable goofball mechanic. You have your smiling milkman. You have this lady, which is the neighborhood's neighbor,
and even all of the other ones, like in Mayberry, you have the the waitresses, the quintessential waitresses of the 50s and 60s times, the cheerleaders, the varsity letterman jacket high school kids, like the young monster that Julie talks to. It's so Mayberry coded. You're 100% right.
I'm telling you, if I put this girl in a headband, she could be a monster. She doesn't even need to change her dress.
This
we
one
could
right
put these two walking around. All of them, actually. All of these.
All of them.
We could switch them and they could walk around right now.
The bride would look like a monster. Literally every one of them you could throw into From, and they would fit perfectly aesthetic-wise.
Perfect.
100%.
Interchangeable.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. 100%. This quintessential kind of Mayberry look, and all from fucking our good old pal Jim. What? This is walking around like this fucking Mayberry. This is fucking Mayberry. This ain't Mayberry.
Yeah, that's why. So one of the biggest questions, why are they dressed like that? I believe that's the answer.
I like it.
Because based on the townspeople, they will adapt to what you believe to be the all-American town. They were not always dressed this way, and they will change if it continues.
Because they want to be welcoming. They want that welcoming feeling where they can draw you in a lot better. And what better way to draw someone in than to have a calm, safe, and familiar look to them. I love PM. I think this is the best explanation that we've gotten up until this point of why they're dressed in the 50s, 60s style attire. This is my favorite theory of that by far. I think you're right. I think you're right on the money.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. You know what I would like to see? The outfits and the attire that the monsters wear for every cycle. I want to see from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell fucking yeah. What did they look like? What was their, what did they pull out of the previous cycles' minds of all of those humans that have been stuck here in Fromville? What did they pull out of their, psyche to kind of cultivate this perfect, welcoming, perfect look of a town and of a family? Yeah, I think it just fits. I think it fits very well with what we're seeing here. I love it. Absolutely fucking love it. And all because of our boy fucking Jim, inspiring.
Jim always knew. Yeah. He always knew. Yeah. He knew the answer. He knew that the answer was 12, and he knew that the answer was Mayberry.
He knew. He fucking knew. Hell fucking yeah, Jim. Hell yes. I like it. Yeah, Jim's the best. I told you he was the coolest and the best and the smartest. Again, I've never hated Jim. I've always liked Jim as a character. I know not everybody does, but I feel like we've been pretty. I feel like PM and I have always kind of stood up for Jim, over the years, and even Ravener too. I believe Ravener likes Jim too. I get he's not everybody's favorite cup of tea. That's totally fine. But I've always liked the character of Jim, and it's for reasons like this that we're getting right here. And again, this is what makes these rewatches so fun, because we're picking up on all kinds of new stuff that we just didn't have context for to pick up on the first time. Like a little innocuous line of, you think this place is fucking Mayberry, turns out to be pretty much an exact blueprint for the monsters and the aesthetic of the town. So again, I feel like every time we do these rewatches after a new season, we always find cool stuff like this. So bravo to PM tonight. MVP in terms of finding what I think is the best theory that we have for why the monsters are dressed the way they are.
Thank you, Mr. Jeremy Ice.
I love it.
Now, if you have the time, you guys, because I'm telling you, if you go down the Mayberry rabbit hole, I believe that there's a lot of symbolism and answers.
There's going to be so much more.
I did not have time. I did not have time to put it together. But if you look, there's an aerial view of the fictional Mayberry. And if you compare that aerial view to the fictional Mayberry and the fictional From, the exact same thing. The entire town is in a line. You have a higher ground. You have the sheriff's office. You have your little restaurant. It is legit an exact like copy of the basics of a small town where everything you go through Main Street and you could get through everything. So if you have the time, you could look into that. It went on for a long time. And I think that what it's trying to tell us when we see that waving America flag that is tattered and dirty, and the Mayberry aesthetic, the 1950s, the welcoming smiles, I think that it's trying to tell us the same thing, that the Monsters have always been a town that seems to be loving, it seems to be helpful, trustworthy, but they will literally backstab you and kill you and do the most horrendous things, just like they did to the children. To these children, when they were sacrificed, this was their milkman, this was their neighbor, the nice lady next door, and they turn on the children. So I think it is also symbolizing the evil that there is in middle class America. You're thinking that everybody is so nice, and then you hear these horrifying stories of murders and slaughtering people that they seem like the perfect family, and then you hear that they did some thing to their children. They killed their children, just like the story of From. The story of From is a whole town that decided to sacrifice, to kill their children.
Yeah, what drove them to do it? Don't know, but they definitely did it. This was a choice that seemingly an entire town made. So no, I love it. I love the I like the parallels. I like the aesthetics. This crossover here that we have between From and Mayberry is super prevalent, I think. And I feel like we have only scratched the surface. Yeah, now we're going to have to dive super deep into Mayberry and see what other kind of parallels and coincidence and clues that we could maybe come up with. I have a feeling we are going to find a lot more. But no, this is great. This was awesome. This was a really fun one, and in my opinion, definitely gives us one of, if not the strongest explanation for what is going on with the monsters, their attire, the whole shebang. I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, except the original sacrifice was likely back in colonial times, not in the 50s. So no, I mean, for the original timeline, no, there wouldn't be a milkman for the original timeline. If the original time goes all the way back to 1506, if those dates in the lighthouse are real, then we would see what was the quintessential version for a welcoming town back in 1506. What would the quintessential village, a welcoming village, look like? Wouldn't exactly be a milkman. That's more to our times. So I feel like it would probably just go based off the times, and considering that Fromville seems to be super old, centuries old. Yeah, it makes you wonder what did the previous incarnations of the monsters look like? Because again, they certainly weren't always dressed in 50s, 60s style attire. I mean, those clothings weren't around centuries ago. So yeah, what did the previous iterations of all the monsters look like? That would be fun to see. We got Sunflower for 5 again. Thank you so much, Sunflower. Very much appreciate it. Sarah slaughtered sacrificial lamb of Ethan. That is why Nathan had to die, because a sacrifice had to happen. Sarah had already agreed by killing Toby. Interesting. Well, I mean, not only did she already kill Toby, but she kind of already agreed to kill Ethan. I mean, she agreed to kill Ethan at the end of the day. When she got that message saying, kill the boy, she was conflicted at first. She wasn't quite sure to do it. And then she has that conversation with Christy. And she asks Christy, if you had to do something bad, but it would get everyone else home, would you do it? Is it worth doing it? And Christy straight up tells her, yeah, I mean, if it could get me home and everybody else here home, yeah, I would do it. And that kind of gives Sarah what she feels like is the, kind of the go ahead, to go through with this. So the second she agreed to that, that is essentially her agreeing to a contract, her agreeing to kill someone for this entity that is controlling her. And yeah, by her failing to kill Ethan, did Nathan have to die? I guess that's an interesting proposition, Sunflower. Maybe, who knows? Maybe it was essentially a deal that Sarah made there, wittingly or unwittingly, by agreeing to do this. And when she failed, she lost her brother as a result.
I like the way that you put it together, Sunflower. And I would like to remind you guys, Sarah told us verbatim, she basically had no choice. Sarah told us, they told me if I don't do it, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah, Nathan's going to get hurt.
And that's the ironic, Nathan, her brother. That was the ironic part. When I saw that, I was like, dude, that is savage. They told her, either kill Ethan or Nathan gets hurt.
Or your brother's dead.
Why. Yes, she wanted to get out of there, but more than that, more than getting out, she wanted to keep her brother alive.
Save her brother's life. Yep.
She was told, you either kill Ethan. It was a lose-lose situation. Kill Ethan or Nathan gets it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I thought, oh my God, so savage. They made her be the one. It's like, yeah, he got hurt, all right. They made her be the one that hurts Nathan. I was like, how did they even know that? How did they know that Nathan was going to be close enough that she would be the one that ends up slashing his throat? It's almost like they could see the future. That's what I thought at the time. I thought they could see the future. They're reading the future. If he doesn't die, Nathan is going to get hurt. They never included it'll be by your own hand, Sarah.
Yeah. And that's it did kind of feel like a deal gone wrong. Like Sarah had failed to live up to her end of the bargain by killing Ethan, and as a result, now your brother needs to die. You didn't live up to your end of the deal. You didn't complete this contract. Now Nathan is dead. And we told you this was going to happen. We told you if you do not kill Ethan, your brother Nathan's going to die. And that's exactly what fucking happened. But like you said, they left out the fine print of you're going to be the one fucking doing it. Savage. Absolutely savage, but also very strategic. Very strategic. And it shows right off the bat a sense of, real cleverness, mastermindness from whatever is manipulating Sarah here, which we now know is most likely the man in yellow the whole time. So yeah, I like it. I like it. Sarah slaughters the sacrificial lamb of Ethan. That is why Nathan had to die, because the sacrifice had to happen. I like it. I think it's a possibility. And of course, we have Chiquita Cyborg for 10 more jewels as well. Happy poop. Thank you for the happy poop emoji. Very much appreciate that, Chiquita Cyborg. And thank you again, Sunflower, for the $5 super chat and the riveting conversation topic as well. Whoa. But yeah. After we see Jim kind of go off on Father Cautry and Boyd, which again, probably one of Jim's, just from a pure acting standpoint, I do think this is one of Jim's best dialogue moments in the entire series. He delivers this dialogue super well. The body language, the facial expressions, this is just a very well acted scene. So yeah, Jim kind of steals the show a little bit.
I know.
Fucking love it. Hell yeah, Jim. Stand up for your shit. But then when we get towards the end of the episode, we see Jim goes back home, and this was, of course, the episode where they're starting to try and figure out what is going on inside From Bill. And they're asking themselves all of these questions. They're doing their investigating, as it were. And they start putting all of these questions on the wall. Where are we? What are the monsters? What are the talismans? Can they be replicated, etc.? They're asking all of the necessary questions that we were asking. I mean, this is very early on in season 1. Well, halfway through season 1. And at this point, we didn't have any of these answers either. And that's what I thought was pretty interesting about this episode. We're seeing Jim, Tabitha, and the Matthews family investigate this stuff at the same time that we're investigating it. And I think that's what made the Matthews family entrance into the town so interesting, where they are getting introduced and kind of thrust into this town just like we as the audience are. And that kind of continues throughout the whole kind of pretty much the whole first half of season 1. That kind of format continues where we as the audience and the Matthews family are learning things together along the way and asking the same questions along the way as well. And here we have one of the most popular theories that was out very early on in season 1. Did we survive the crash? Now, of course, here we are all these seasons later, and now we've gotten a little bit more context for some of these things. And we do know from the creators directly themselves that they have confirmed that this is not purgatory. They are not dead. And it's not a dream. It's not some big shared dream either. The creators have completely debunked those theories. But early on, these were all the questions that we were asking ourselves. And I just love seeing how the Matthews family was going on this same journey that we as the audience were for a while.
Well, I would like to kind of go back to something we mentioned previously.
Absolutely.
We're looking at this question: did we survive the crash? The creators answered this question in the same episode. This question right here that they are asking themselves was answered in this same episode. And it was answered when they mentioned Schrodinger's cat, because that is the big question of that. Is the cat alive or dead? Is it simultaneously alive and dead? Are they thinking that they're alive, but really they're dead? They're the cat. And Schrodinger's cat says they're alive. If they're walking, talking, breathing, they're alive. Because that is the whole point. The whole point of it is you cannot be dead from the crash and also here. You cannot be dead in your car, but then also in this town. If you are in this town and you're moving, breathing, walking, you're alive, you are not dead. So this question they put on the board, they answered it in this same episode. We just couldn't see it.
We just didn't have the context for it. Yeah, very true. Very true. And it's also kind of the setup and the foreshadowing for the town's version of their own Schrodinger's cat experiment that they're conducting, where that's kind of prompted by Tom. Even when Tom says, if the cat builds a giant radio tower, at least the people on the outside of the box are going to know that they're alive. So yeah, we got really good, just like fundamental pieces for the entire show in this episode. We just didn't really have enough context for them until now, as you mentioned.
They were confirming, no, they are not dead. You cannot be dead in the crash and also alive in the town. You are alive. If you're here, you're alive. So they were confirming that, and we could rest easy, I think, now that we see it. But Catherine here is saying Henry is Otis, the town drunk. So that's really, I mean, it seems funny, right? But
it's true.
Yes. So in Mayberry, that is a very interesting connection, because you talk about the all-American welcoming town. Why is there a town drunk, right? And there is. We see that even in our town, we have fathers that kind of take to the bottle instead of taking care of their family. And yes, in Mayberry, there was a town drunk. That is very much an archetype of the all-American town. Back then, drinking was much more accepted. People would drink at work. If you were conducting business, you would have a drink or two with the people you were conducting business with. It was typical for you to come home and have a drink. So drinking was much more prevalent. There was a town drunk, and Henry has taken over that role. And before him, it was, what was his name? A Man Protects His Family?
Frank. It was Frank at first, and then Henry takes over the role.
Or then there was probably somebody else. Yeah, before them there was probably somebody else.
I have to imagine before Frank it was somebody else, even in the previous cycle before that. It just makes sense. These characters kind of following each other, and here we have Otis Campbell here from Mayberry, always with the bottle, always tapping the freaking bottle, just like our good old pal Henry. Again, the parallels are incredibly prevalent. And yeah, I think we're going to have to probably, on our next stream, dive even deeper. And I guess that's something that we can do research, over the next few days until we do our next From stream. We can do some research if you guys want to as well. I know I certainly will be. And we will be diving into all things Mayberry and see what other kind of parallels that we can find, whether it's characters, characteristics, places, environments, tones, tropes. How much similarity between Fromville and Mayberry is there? Just on the surface, just from what PM found alone, is a freaking ton. And I can only imagine what we're going to continue to discover down this freaking rabbit hole that PM is leading us down. And I'm all for it. I am all for a good rabbit hole every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if we put this together with the paradoxes, which again, a word, you start saying it enough that it loses all meaning. But the fact that they are confirming they're alive, this is the town, this is what the monsters are trying to do. I think it simplified it for me, because the monsters have long been creatures that we couldn't just place. They're dressed weird, they're smiling. What's going on here, right? They're walking, they're not running. But then when you look at it in this context, all of a sudden everything makes sense. Them holding the purse, the cowboy having the hat, even though it falls off of him every time he transforms, but he has to have his prop. Holding the little shopper purse. This is what it was in Mayberry. People would, carry these little props around. And there was, like I said, there was so much more. The town drunk.
Yeah.
There's even episodes. There's episodes where you're like, oh my God, that is giving From. Obviously, in Mayberry, everything resolves itself by people coming together, and in From it devolves. But you can find in From where they have kind of twisted the traditional episodes of the archetypes of the all-American town. They have twisted them. Like the kids getting into trouble, where Ethan goes on a whole adventure. It usually resolves in a nice, happy way. This one ends in a fist fight with Victor, but the rebellious teen. So yeah, if you want, we could dive deeper into it. I just wanted to simplify it, and I put minimum on it, but I have more. If you want more, I have more.
I'm sure you do. And again, I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be super fun to dive even deeper into it. I have to imagine we're going to find tons more, parallels and symbolisms and all kinds of fucking fun stuff that we love to take a look at here on this channel. So hell yeah, I'm totally down for doing another deep dive into it. Definitely. But yeah, there it is, folks. There it is. Some very interesting revelations in this episode. Let me pull this back up, and we will finish it out because I believe we only have one more scene after the Matthews family, and then the episode ends. Season 1, Episode 5, Silhouettes. But after that, we see Boyd and Christy in the diner, and they're both just kind of having a pleasant conversation where things are starting to get tough in town, and they're not quite sure how to deal. And then that's pretty much it. We can listen to a little bit of it, I suppose. And again, this is the episode where Boyd is very much worrying about his Parkinson's too. Like, this is when it first really starts coming to the surface, and he's wondering if these tremors, these shakes that he's having, are actually Parkinson's, or if it's just a physical reaction to this place in Fromville. And that's one thing we actually see Boyd ask Christy at the very beginning of this episode. He's at the clinic. They're outside of the clinic, actually. And it's right after Sarah has her seizure. And Boyd is starting to notice, okay, Sarah had a seizure and so did Ethan. And then Boyd's starting to wonder, okay, could something similar be happening to me? We're seeing that Ethan had a physical reaction to this place. Sarah had a physical reaction to this place. And we hear him ask Christy that exact question. Is it possible that people could physically react to being here? And of course, Christy, kind of gives Boyd, an answer you'd expect. If we were in the real world, I would, say no. But after being here, who knows what's possible type answer. So I think in that scene, Boyd is maybe trying to convince himself that it's not really Parkinson's, or hoping that it's not really Parkinson's and that it's just this place, a physical reaction that he's having to this place. But that's why we see Boyd with Christy a few times in this episode. He's very much, this is the beginning of him worrying about the Parkinson's and how much it's consuming him.
That's right. And I do love what the chat is saying. The chat is acknowledging that it's really fun to come up with all of these things.
Yeah.
And even if we got to the end and they misled us, they did such a good job at misleading us, and it's
It
a
was still
completely
fun.
different story. It's
Yeah.
still fun. Of course,
It was
it is still
still
fun.
fun.
They could take
Yeah.
away the story, you guys, but they could never take away the nights and the
The journey.
hours,
Yeah.
the hours that we have spent collectively enjoying our hyperfixation. They could never take that away from me. And they could never take
Never.
you guys away from me. We're
Hell
coming
no.
to the end of the episode, but it's always a nice reminder they could never take that from us. Even if at the end of the day your theory is not correct, that doesn't matter. They can't take away the fun that you had creating the theory, talking about the theory with your friends. So I think, positive attitude towards the new season and even to season 4. Patty can take away screen time, but she could not take away from me my love of From.
No, absolutely not. Give her all the screen time you want. We will stay vigilant. But no, yeah, again, it's oh man, one season left. We are getting down to the ending of From. I still can't wait to see what's going to happen. How's this whole thing going to really play out? But loving this deep dive, loving going back to the beginning. I feel like every episode we've watched so far from this since we've started this rewatch, I feel like we found something pretty interesting in just about every single episode so far, with this being perhaps the most interesting one yet, with the some of the revelations that we're diving into here, especially the monsters' clothing and all of that. Love diving into this stuff. And yeah, this is the end of this one. We got Boyd and Christy.
Boyd is such an amazing man. I tell you, he reminds me
He's
of
the
my dad.
best. He's the best.
And
yeah.
kind of, he reminds me, if I do say so myself, I remind myself of Boyd.
A little bit.
I
see
remind
it.
myself of, of the hero of the story. I remind myself of the hero of the story.
We're all the hero of our own story at the end of the day. Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is. But
It is.
in this way, Boyd, like some of us, like myself, we are super quick to offer forgiveness and kindness and take it easy to everybody around us. If we have a friend, if we have a partner, husband, wife, whatever, we
Yeah.
are super quick to say, you know what? Take it easy. You're doing the best that you can. It was not your fault, all of this. So we are the first one telling you to get some rest, to take care of yourself, to eat well, to
Mhm.
be healthy, giving you love. But we will never do that for ourselves. That's why I think it's hilarious that he's like saying all these things to her, and he
But he
says,
won't take the
I'm
advice.
yeah, what does he say in the church? I'm fucking stupid because I thought I could save everybody. I'm just a dumbass that keeps getting people killed. He says the meanest things to himself. He
Yeah.
doesn't give himself any leeway for humanity, for being human. He is super hard on himself. He would never tell himself, Boyd, take it easy. Boyd, it's not your fault. He takes everything super personal. Everything is his fault. But he is the first one to tell other people to calm down, that it's not their fault, and to take the accountability or responsibility away from them.
Mhm.
And yet he's not kind to his own body. He doesn't get the rest that he's telling other people to get. He
Nope.
doesn't, give himself the kindness. He says really mean stuff about himself. So
Mhm.
that's why it's so funny. He's so caring. He's such a caring person.
He is. I mean, he's one of those people that just genuinely, like actually genuinely cares about everybody around him. It's not like one of those things where he kind of like plays favorites or anything like that. Yeah, he has people that he cares about more than others. But Boyd would literally put his life on the line to save anyone in Fromville. It doesn't matter if you're Ellis or if you're a straight up red shirt that has never been in a scene before. Boyd is just that type of character that he will throw himself in harm's way to save anyone that's innocent. And yeah, it's a very admirable quality. Boyd has very many admirable qualities to him. But yeah. Oh man, our boy Boyd. And again, I feel like season 1 is the last time where Boyd ever really gets to kind of sit and rest easy, I guess, for lack of a better term. Because from season 2 on, this place really amps up the pressure in terms of trying to just break Boyd psychologically. Season 1, it's not like he has a great season 1, don't get me wrong, but it's nowhere near as drastic, nowhere near as, kind of focused as his storyline is from season 2 on, where the monsters are just doing literally everything they can to break his spirit. Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown is a very true statement when it comes to Boyd. And I think season 1 was not even all of season 1, like the first half of season 1 was the last time that Boyd was ever able to sit easy until things really kind of just went haywire for him particularly. But man, what a good character, what a good performance from Harold Perrineau. This, again, going back and watching this first season is always so much freaking fun. We have been finding tons of stuff, like collectively as a fandom, all you guys in the chat, we have been finding some really, really fun stuff on this rewatch. And I can't wait to see what we continue to find. Up next, we have episode 6, which is, kind of the calm before the storm, before episode 7, which is the Colony House Massacre. So the next 2 episodes in particular in our rewatch, 6 and 7, are, in my opinion, 2 of the best episodes in season 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's coming right up. And that one we have seen, Jeremy. Let's not lie, okay? We have seen that massacre over and over again.
Over and over again.
I mean,
we've seen that one over and over again. Yeah.
And again, and again, and again.
Millions of times.
But guess what? We will do it again, and it will be amazing. Just as it has always been.
It will. It will be fun. It will be fun. What other stuff can we potentially pick up on as we continue our rewatch, ladies and gents? But yeah, this was a blast. Love diving into all of this craziness. We'll play out the last few seconds of this episode, and then we will go into number 6. Boyd starts hearing the freaking song. If I had a boat, go out on the ocean. And you know what's great about that? That is the sign that Boyd was looking for. That's how the episode just ends. Because earlier in this episode, we see Boyd go and visit his wife, and he's kind of at a crossroads where he's not 100% sure which road to take. And we hear him tell Abby, I'm standing at the plate. If you want me to swing, I'll fucking swing for the fences, but I need you to give me a sign. And I love how even in death, Abby is Boyd's compass. Abby is Boyd's true North Star, even in death. And it was just it just sets up their relationship in such a beautiful way, to the point where here we are 5 episodes in, we haven't even met Abby yet, and she's already a huge presence on the show and in Boyd's storyline. So I thought this was a really good episode. Boyd visiting Abby for the first time, asking her for that sign, and then boom, right here, as soon as the episode ends, he gets the sign.
Now,
brilliant.
We had been talking about the marriage between Jim and Tabitha and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was a solid marriage. What
Boyd and Abby
had with Abby, that was a beautiful relationship. That was such a beautiful relationship.
Yeah.
And you wonder, you look at a man like Boyd and you wonder, what type of woman does a man like Boyd marry, create a family with, have children with?
Fucking Abby.
And he answers the question, right? He says, Abby, you made all the hard calls. You always made all the hard calls. You were the tough one. And he laughs. And he laughs remembering how she would tell him of a certain time where she told him, you gotta go for
Sometimes you gotta swing big, baby. Yeah.
Yeah. And he laughs remembering that she was the one. She was the tough one. And he mentions that other times. He says, You want to talk about tough. Now, Abby, she was the real tough one. I mean, she was nicknamed Iron Abby. If
Iron
I ever
Abby.
get a nickname, I mean, Iron Abby. Oh
Iron
my
PM.
gosh, dude. That's the coolest nickname
It's
ever.
a good
This
one.
woman who seems super powerful. He married Iron Abby. That's the type of woman that Boyd marries. Somebody that is stronger than him. And it's hard. When you're up against Boyd, it's stronger to be
Yeah.
smarter,
To find someone complementary to that.
smarter, more, somebody
Yeah.
that makes better choices, somebody that he follows. He
Yep.
doesn't lead her. He follows. He's like, I'll do what you want me to do. You always made the
You
tough
tell me.
choices.
Yeah.
Tell
You
me
tell
what
me
to
to
do and I'll
swing,
do
I'll
it.
swing. I'll swing
I
if you
love
want me
that.
to. I love it.
love that relationship and the way that
Yeah.
he talks about Iron Abby. I
Yeah.
think it's, it's just
The reverence of it. And again, it just seems like he knows that Abby never stood him wrong, never steered him into the wrong direction. If he's unsure about something, it's again, it's almost like even in death, Abby is his North Star, his true north.
yeah. But I love a man who follows direction.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions, follow direction. And that's what it was. He's like, she's dead. And he's still like, hey, knock, knock, Abby, wake up from your grave. What do I do? Tell me what to do. Send me the sign.
Yeah.
And she does.
And she sends
I
him the
gotta
sign.
love it. I gotta love that. Gotta love it.
And that also brings up the question of somebody else in the and this is something we've been asking ourselves right from the very beginning. Who controls the jukeboxes? Supposedly that would be Abby turning the jukebox. And I think that's what the ambiguity of it. At times it feels like some of these dead characters are trying to communicate through the jukebox, like we see here with Abby. And then at other times, it almost seems like the jukeboxes are turning on to taunt certain characters in their moment of grief, like we saw with Kenny when it turned on for him. So I think it could be a mix of both. I think there could be a way where maybe some of these characters can influence some of these, electronical things around them. Again, this is Fromville, after all. This is a very supernatural, soaked place. And if you're a spirit stuck in this place, you're just pure energy at that point. So yeah, I could totally see them maybe potentially trying to communicate through these jukeboxes.
Yeah, I think it could be both. Two things can be
both.
true at the same time.
Absolutely.
Sophia activated the jukebox.
Yep.
What's her face should have picked up on that. She literally says, "Oh, you can make them work," and then she makes it work. Say
Right away,
something,
Marielle.
Bagda. You're a big disappointment.
Oh
Say
my God.
something. Say something. I
Uh,
mean, but okay, Bagda, okay. So I think two things can be true at the same time. The
Yeah.
jukeboxes operate on energy. The dead people, their energy cannot go anywhere. They're stuck there. That's what Mariel says. So if you're dead, you are energy. You could go through that jukebox and you could
Exactly.
activate it.
You're
And
pure
I
energy.
believe, yes, and I believe that the man in yellow, Sophia, clearly she can activate it. Therefore,
Yep.
both people, sometimes Sophia and sometimes the dead, because they can't go anywhere. They're just energy lingering. I'm gonna enter the jukebox. I would be entering the light. That's why I believe that the cabinet smacking is
Cabinets,
that
the
is
lights
energy.
flickering.
Yeah, that is energy. Polter Jim, which I love.
Polter fucking Jim, yeah.
I love
I
that
love
you guys.
fucking Polter Jim.
I love the
Polter
Jeremy
Jim's-
Ice and Fire chat. You guys
Ah,
came
me
up with
too.
Polter Jim, and that was great. I
Polter
freaking love that.
Jim, you came up with Fire Mitts. We did NPC Roger. We had Patty Mel. Like this chat and this community has come up with the funniest fucking shit surrounding this show, and I love all of you for it.
Can't take anything seriously. Provolone. We had a ball with provolone.
Fucking provolone.
That poor little sandwich. It was just being a prop. He's like, I'm just a prop. I'm just doing my job.
I mean,
it didn't know that it was gonna become the biggest thing. The wig. How do we forget the wig?
The wig became a character in and of itself. I mean, what other channel are you going to come and have like a 20-minute roast session when we're roasting a sandwich or we're roasting a piece of cheese? Like you're not going to get that entertainment anywhere else other than right here when we're roasting fucking cheese.
Boots on the ground, baby. Boots on the ground journalism, asking the tough questions for you, asking the questions that need to be answered. And yeah, I mean, you guys are hilarious. But Polter Jim, I believe that that's
Ultimate
him
Jim.
smacking. That has Jim written all over it.
Total Jim.
That
yeah.
has angry, but I'm still protecting you because I never threw anything at your head.
Yeah.
When you watch Polter Jim, notice that he's always making noise away from the kids. So when he started throwing stuff, the kids were sitting at the table and Donna was there, but he wasn't throwing anything at them. If it was malevolent, it could throw a cup right at Julie's
at
wig.
Ethan's fucking head.
Right
yeah.
at Julie's wig, throw a cup. But it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I think Polter Jim is a real thing. 100%. It's got to be Polter Jim. I think that makes the most sense because this phenomenon, whatever it is, it seems to be following the Matthews family. It's not located just to like one house or anything. It happens in the Matthews family house at the beginning of the season, and then in Colony House when the Matthews family are in that kitchen. So it seems to be following the Matthews family, and yeah, that tells me it's Jim for sure. For sure. But yeah, again, this is some of the stuff that we like to dive into here on this channel, whether it's roasting Jim, roasting a piece of provolone cheese, roasting Julie's wig. We all do it in good fun. Always. It's always just meant to be fun. But I feel like we do. I feel like we have good fun here. And that is a big thanks to each and every one of you guys hanging out with us and diving into all this craziness with us, like roasting.
We can't take anything serious.
Cheese. No.
Roasting
No.
Henry. Henry got it the other day.
Henry got roasted.
People were in on Henry.
Henry got super fucking roasted last time.
The boy in white too. Remember the boy in white when he let Victor go into the penitentiary and he didn't show up and he was hiding in the bushes. He got
just
it too.
hiding in the bushes.
Everybody could get it.
Getting arrested and hemmed up.
Exactly. Everybody could get it. The difficult part would be us taking something serious. Having an entire show, an entire episode where we take things serious. We could never. We could never. Before the time is over, we would be cracking a joke. I couldn't.
Yeah, maybe. It might be tough. Might be tough, especially with this chat. Now, how hilarious this chat tends to be. It might be tough. But yeah, no, I feel like we've had tons of fun, not only with season 4, but I'm loving these rewatches and these recaps that we're doing here. It seems like everybody's finding some really cool new stuff on all of these rewatch sessions, and it's fun to kind of get here and to dive into all of it with each and every one of you. And of course, we will be continuing. We're only halfway through officially now, halfway through season 1 of From. Episode 6 will be the next one, and then episode 7 after that, which will be the Colony House Massacre. So again, we have 2 very interesting episodes coming up next on our redive and revisit of the beginning. But yeah, this was an absolute fucking blast. Absolute blast. Yeah, the show was humor. It does kind of write itself sometimes, like the fire mitts, NPC Roger just grabbing that freaking rope like he's all of a sudden the main character. There are some very, obvious things that are right there for the taking in terms of, it's going to be hilarious. So it does.
You know what I just remembered? The monster that you spotted. Listen, the show does have comedy, but it takes a keen eye to pick up on these things, okay? Not everybody picked up on the provolone, okay? It takes a keen eye. It takes an expert eye to look out for these things. And I was remembering the monster, how they probably told them, okay, the van is going to come over here. You need to go over there and scare them. And it was like, okay, I'm going to do my best. And all he does is, rah, rah, and throws his hands up at the thing, and Patty freaks out. But it's making the funniest noise, and the funny thing is that it's standing up at the front. So he walks over to Patty's window. It's like, okay, they're gonna roll. We're gonna roll the camera. You're gonna be the scariest you could be. And it's like, okay.
Here it is. I found it.
Oh my god, I want to watch it. Do you have it?
I think I found it. Yeah.
Oh. But he's up at the front. That's what's funny. He's like waiting there. he's like acting normal. He's acting like he's a normal person, and all of a sudden he's gurgling at the mouth. Like we've never heard them make that sound either. I know
No,
they
I've never heard
scream.
that fucking sound.
They do that little scream.
I've never heard that growling sound. It sounds like a fucking dog. It sounds like a rabid dog trying to catch a moving car. Let's see if I
Yeah.
can find it.
They told them, we're gonna roll the camera, you're gonna scare them.
Listen, take deep breaths, right? Take deep breaths. We're almost back to town. We are.
It doesn't matter. We made things worse.
Fucking
Made this place angry. Now we're gonna be punished.
Great. We're going to be fine.
You are a liar. You promised we'd go home.
Patty.
I can't be here anymore.
Here we go.
There he is. Oh, there it is. There it is.
And then
Look,
she
look, it's getting
instantly tries
right
to off
outside.
herself. She instantly tries to off herself.
They know.
Instantly
know.
tries to off herself.
They're like, dude, Patty's hanging by a thread. Don't go to the other window.
Patty's
Go to the
gone.
window where Patty is. She's hanging by a thread, dude. Just
Yeah, make
growl
sure
at
you're
her
on
like a
Patty's
dog.
side of the van.
And both of them go to Patty's. They don't even bother with Boyd's side of the van. They're like, no, they're
They
too
don't
tough.
even
Just
try.
make sure you go to Patty's side of the van and growl like a goddamn dog. And she's like, we made everything
Oh, fuck.
worse. I can't stand Patty with that. Like, I don't remember her voice, but she's like, everything is worse. We made this place angry. She's just like whining.
It's the worst fucking voice I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Everything is worse. We made everything mad.
We made everything worse.
I don't want to be here.
I don't want to
wanna
be
be
here
here
anymore. I don't want to be here anymore.
I don't want to be here anymore. It's like, oh, thank you, Patty, because we all want to be here. We were just waiting for you to tap out.
Yeah, we all love it here, Patty. Thank you.
Thank you. So you wanted to be up until this point.
Promise we go home.
Patty.
I can't do this. I don't want to be here anymore.
Get her.
What the fuck?
I love Boyd. What the fuck?
Boyd, what the fuck? Instantly tries to just off herself.
Híjale.
What's wrong with you? Huh? Are you?
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Oh my god, I can't with her.
Oh,
I can't believe that
God,
she said, "You're a liar." It's like
You're
I
a
can't believe that
liar.
Boyd didn't slap her. And that imagine Boyd slapping her right in the red of the face. That's an open wound. That
Oof.
would settle her down.
That's gotta
'Cause you know
hurt.
how sometimes people get hysterical and you have to slap them so that they could get into snap out of
Yeah.
it.
Snap out of it,
That's
man.
what she needed. She needed a good slap so she
Yeah.
could snap out of her mental thing. And she's like, "You're a liar! You're a liar! I don't want to be here anymore." It's like, oh my god,
I don't want to be
Patty,
here anymore.
you said we were gonna go home. I can't with her. I can't.
Oh,
It would have been
fuck.
so satisfying if she had actually
off
done what they
herself?
wanted her to do. Yeah, we
No,
would have been
yeah.
like, I would have taken a deep breath, like, it's over.
It's over.
It's over.
It's
We're safe.
good. We're safe. Farmville is
We're
fucking
safe.
back.
It's over.
Yeah,
The war is over.
the war is over. For those who, I mean, don't know what we're talking about, I'm sure most of you guys probably already know, but just in case, this scene was almost very, very different. Apparently, in the original version of the script, Patty actually successfully shoots herself in the head in this scene. Like, they were originally going to let her commit suicide, but then apparently they changed it last minute because they thought that would have been a little bit too much in an episode that already has like a lot of death. Because again, this is the same episode where we lose Marielle and Elgin later on as well. So for that reason, they decided not to have Patty kill herself. They turned into this an attempt, but in the original script, they were gonna have Patty off herself right there in that fucking scene.
Yes. And the channel has opened, I have opened, and I'm using Jeremy's. I have opened a petition for Patty to make it right. We want her to make it right. She wronged us. They stole from us this scene that they had already written. So we want them to make it right. We're not asking for changes. All we're asking is to make it right. Have her complete it. Have the opening of season 5 be you hear a trigger and then I don't want to be here anymore.
I don't want to be here anymore.
And then the song Que Sera, Sera.
Oh fuck. Yeah, I do think it would have made the scene just way better. Not only would it have, not effectively, but not only would it have rid us of Patty, which is a plus in and of itself, but I think it would have just added, just from a narrative standpoint, just all joking aside, it would have added to just the story. I mean, it would have just kind of highlighted and showcased once again the perils of living in Fromville and the psychological aspect of living in this place and how detrimental it can be to your mental health. I feel like they touched on that a little bit in season 1 when we see that one character hang himself inside Boyd's police station. But then we don't have really anything like that ever again, which is a little unrealistic in my opinion. Like, I get not a lot of shows don't want to do a ton of suicide scenes. I totally understand that. But in a show like this, I think it would be a little bit more realistic if we did have 1 or 2 more of those, because you would in a situation like this, you would 100% have people Jim Jonesing themselves left and fucking right. So yeah, I think it would have added to the show. I mean, added to the kind of underscore that threat, that kind of psychological element to From in terms of being here is really detrimental. Only the most sound people of body and mind are able to survive in this place. So again, not only would it have rid us of fucking Patty's ass, but I think it also would have served the story if they did have her kill herself there.
I think that the only reason why she was included in the trip was so that she could take the gun, put them in danger, and take her life. That's the only reason why they wrote her to go on the trip. If you take away that part of it, when you take away her putting them in danger by shooting a gun inside a vehicle that could have gotten anybody, then you make it irrelevant for her to have been chosen to go. Not only do you make it irrelevant, but you make it egregious. You make this, make Boyd look like he wasn't in the army, like he was in the Boy Scouts, because that's a Boy Scout decision. I'm going to take the frail older woman who has half of her face ripped off and burnt off and is very traumatized. That is a decision somebody makes that is not trained. That is not a decision that Boyd would have made. That is not a decision that somebody that has experience working in the army during times of war and chaos would have made. So when you're taking away the fact that she was supposed to take her life, shoot a gun inside the vehicle, take her life, and then potentially, endanger others, you make it irrelevant and you confuse us. You have us wondering, why the hell is she and Bagda holding the ladder when you have all these men at Colony House? Big men that could handle this. It makes no sense. I have to wonder what is going on with the decision making.
No, me too. At times, some things just they just don't really add up 100% at times. Certain decisions.
I don't want blood just because I want blood.
Exactly what I said.
They must make it right. They owe me.
It has to be.
They owe me, and they must make it right. Okay.
Yeah. No,
this is not blood just because we want blood. It is storytelling. It is making sense. It is decision making. You must make it right. NGM, make it right. Kill Patty.
Fucking kill off Patty. And I'm the same way. I don't want gratuitous violence. I don't want just random death scenes in there just for shock value and no other purpose. When you kill a character off, there needs to be a sound narrative reason behind it. Something that it's underlying, a message that it's sending, a plot that it's setting up. There needs to be something to it. And I think that would have happened here. I think it would have kind of underlined that score for Patty, that it's highlighting the psychological elements of this place.
You know what this reminds me of, Jeremy?
What?
When I found out and when I saw the finale, I was like, glued to my screen. I was watching the finale and I was like, finally, just get it over with, Patty. Kill yourself. Go for it. And it was like, this makes sense for your character. It makes sense for the situation and the drama and the stress that they're putting you through. And then it didn't happen. It reminded me of Tian Chen quote from, because I speak in from quotes. You took from me. Remember when she says, you take from me.
Yeah.
You take from me. That's all I could. Yeah, but then she says, you took from me.
Yeah, you took from me. Yep.
And that's it, period. You took from me. And when I heard that, that's how I felt in my heart. I was like, you took from me. You took from me. You were supposed to complete the script and you took from me. You took from me and you left Patty alive. You mean to tell me that there was a script where she completes the deed and you took from me? You took from me. You have to make it right.
Gotta make that right at that point. Oh man, and again, poor Bacta just completely languishing. And again, and it's unfortunate. We got all this screen time for freaking Patty Melt, and poor Bacta hasn't been given any character development in 3 fucking seasons now. But yeah, so much wasted time on stupid Patty. It was. But I do think it would have been a better scene if she would have just offed herself there. I think it would have, again, underlying the psychological elements and subsequently rid us of Patty at the same time. But there we have it, folks. Episode 5 of season 1 in the books on our rewatch. We will be diving into season 1, episode 6 next on our next stream. And then season 1, episode 7 following that. 1 week from tonight will be episode 7. The Colony House Massacre PM 1 week from tonight, right here. Colony House Massacre. Are you ready?
It's the best one. Very exciting. I am ready. And, we did a little bit of it today, but we are totally going to roast Fatima. Ellis, who was supposed to be the big protector, big man in town protecting Julie, and Donna, because I would like you to rewatch the episode. Watch out for if they look for that little girl. They don't.
Or if they everybody's even shout running out her name.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They are shouting out for each other. They never ask, where is Julie? No. They never say, get Julie, nothing. They never look for her. They for all they know, she could be dead. They never even mention her. So I'm sure we're going to have fun roasting them and their bad decision making. But yeah, the best is yet to come. It has been fun, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this was an absolute blast tonight. I feel like we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of fun ground, came up with some really cool, new, interesting theories. PM, I love your explanation of the garb on the monsters, why they're stuck in this kind of 50s, 60s era attire, this Mayberry connection, which we will definitely continue to dive deeper into, and let us know what parallels you guys come up with if you are also diving into the Mayberry thing and watching episode 6 and watching episode 7 between now and next week. Let us know what you guys pick up on. Come back right here and we will be diving into all of the craziness together as we continue our season 1 rewatch. Yeah, Boyd should just toss Patty out of the freaking window. Open the door of the van and just boot her right out. That's it. Done, over with, finito. You get rid of Patty and it buys yourself plenty of time to get where you need to get to as the monsters are distracted killing Patty. It's just a win-win for everybody. Absolute win-win for everybody. But yeah, again, big thank you to all of you. This has been absolutely great. And he stopped the scene in a great spot with Patty Melt. I mean, look at her.
You could hear the complaining from the quiet screen. You could hear
and look at Boyd.
more. You could hear
And
the
you can-
complaining, whiny. Hey, I hate a whiny person.
It's just oozing out of her, just completely oozing out of her. And poor Boyd, he's had enough. Boyd's had a fucking enough with this batty motherfucker.
I don't want
He's
to
had
be
enough.
here
I don't
anymore.
want to be here anymore.
You promised me we gonna come home. You liar.
Fuck you, Patty. Deal with it. Fucking deal with it. Shit. Good stuff. Good stuff. Can we pull up the picture? Victor was drawing in season 4, episode 8. All right, let me see if I can find it real quick before we close things out. Season 4. Do you have a timestamp for when it is? In season 4, episode 8, because if you have a timestamp, I might be able to find it. But without a timestamp, it might be a little more difficult to pin down where this scene is.
I'm gonna head
so
out while you do that, but I had so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, absolutely. Yeah, I'll be ending this here in a minute as well. And yeah, you guys can catch PM and I back to next week right here this Saturday, and we'll be diving into the Colony House Massacre episode. So yes, PM, thank you so much as always. And yeah, I will see you then.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye. Awesome stuff. All right, here we go. Let's see. Season 4, episode 8. Again, there's a timestamp. I might be able to find it, but without a timestamp, I'm kind of in the dark here. Victor drawing. Let's see if we can skim through it and find it. Oh, we got one drawing cited. That's Ethan's drawing. Okay, is this what we're looking at? Just Victor drawing here? Is this what we are looking at? Right here? Is that it? Okay, let's see. What is he drawing there, actually? I guess we'll see. Fucking Batty Melt. She's wearing that fucking... she wears the freaking gauze for all of one fucking day before she just takes it off and just walking around with that fucking cut just wide open and fucking just exposed. Cover your face up, Patty. Cover that shit up. But let's see. What do we have next? Don't need to see any more Patty. We see Ethan walking in, and then we will see Victor's drawing, and we'll see what exactly is Victor drawing. It's hard to tell. Hard to tell. Okay, it seems like some kind of person. Also with something in his arms. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I am not sure what exactly he's drawing here, but again, we do see the teeth, right? I mean, that's pretty weird, right? We see the freaking, there's some human teeth just chilling there. But again, Victor did find the bag of human teeth. It seems like he kept a few for himself. Don't know why, but he did. He did. Creepy. Creepy. Is that blood or him eating something? I don't know. Probably eating something. If it's one of those two, I would say eating. Probably not blood. Could that be the man in yellow? Maybe. It's possible. It's definitely possible. Man in yellow drawing. He is remembering and he's using yellow. Again, you're very, very true. He does have the yellow crayon in his hand. He's getting ready to start coloring this in yellow. We see the red, which is probably most likely the blood. So yeah, maybe this is another drawing of the man in yellow. That would probably be my guess. That would probably be my guess. He is drawing the man in yellow. Could be Eloise. Maybe. Could be. It definitely looks a little more man in yellowy. I mean, just from like the face. But again, it is a children's drawing. At the end of the day, it's not going to be super, super accurate. So who knows? Who knows? Could it be Eloise? Those teeth. Yes. 11 to 13 minutes. Yeah, I think this is the one right here. We're right around 13 minutes right now, and we're seeing Victor with this creepy drawing with these creepy freaking teeth right next to him. Why the teeth, man? Why are the teeth there? Yeah, the teeth are a bit yellowish for sure. For sure. And yeah, probably not Eloise. She wore a brown shirt. Yep, indeed. Here the shirt is green. Yeah, we see whatever body this is. Definitely a greenish, tealish type shirt that the person is wearing. But yeah, could be a child. Definitely looks a little bit smaller, maybe. I don't know. It's a very interesting one. I guess I will take a screenshot of this drawing. I will throw it in the Discord, and I want to hear what you guys have to think. Not just tonight, but over the week. While we get ready for our next episode, hop on into the Discord. If you guys have any theories as to what this drawing is and what it's really depicting, throw it in there, and we will definitely talk about that on our next stream as well. Because yeah, it kind of almost looks like a child. Could be Eloise. What exactly is going on here? What is going on here? And why the teeth? Why are there teeth there? Man, there we go. I think it was the yellow one. Was the yellow one or the orange one? It was one of those two. It was definitely yellow or orange, because I remember him saying that and thinking, wait a minute, was it the yellow one? It doesn't work anymore. It was a bad gift. If that's the scene you're talking about, Dave. The yellow one didn't work. It was a bad gift. Yeah, I think it was the yellow. I think it was the yellow marker, which again would be very fitting, very, very fitting for Victor's drawings and the theme of the show heading into season 3 and 4, with yellow being very prominent, a very prominent color. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe Victor remembers getting attacked. Again, I think it's very interesting to know what Victor does and doesn't remember, and it's really hard to tell. But I do get the feeling we are going to continue to see that theme of Victor, remembering memories out of nowhere. I get the feeling he'll probably remember a few things in the 5th and final season, whether it gets triggered by something. But yeah, there's still a lot in Victor's noggin that needs to be studied thoroughly as well. If Victor is some kind of Kaiser Soze, it will be crazy. I feel like it would be kind of crazy. I know I would not want that to be the case personally. Like I love the character of Victor and just who he is as this. But if any character on the show were to have a Kaiser Soze type kind of reveal, I think Victor would be just as interesting as anybody else that would fill that role. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, a lot of yellow symbolism, the crayons, everything, tons of yellow. So I don't know. Let us know in the comment section, guys. What kind of drawing do you think Victor is making here? What is our good old pal Victor drawing? But that is going to do it for us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to get ready to close it down. Now, this upcoming Thursday, Raven and I will be live, and we'll be diving into episode 6 of season 1. And then PM and I will be live Saturday, diving into season 1, episode 7, which is the big one, the Colony House Massacre. And we will see what kind of stuff we can pick up on our rewatch of the massacre itself. And of course, tomorrow night we have the House of the Dragon season 3 finale, folks. The last episode of House of the Dragon is almost upon us, and we will be here. We will be right here doing our live pregame show, our live watch party, and of course, our live after show discussion following the watch party as well. Here is the link to the House of the Dragon pregame show in the chat. And yeah, we got a very interesting weekend and week to look forward to, diving into both From and House of the Dragon. And we will see how season 3 is going to end. Yeah, Eloise's teeth. I mean, that whole bag of teeth, I wouldn't be surprised if at least a few of them, or at least one of them, was Eloise's. seems like the man in yellow likes to take these trophies from his kills. We know he took one from Jin. We know he took one from the pastor that Sophia kills at the beginning of the season. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the man in yellow takes a tooth from every single victim. So yeah, probably an Eloise tooth in there at least. And again, big thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us on this fine Saturday night evening. Man, I can't believe we've been going for almost 4 freaking hours, but that is what happens. Time flies when you're having fun, diving into From and all of the craziness that goes along with it. So big thank you to each and every one of you. Huge thank you to my awesome co-host, PM and Ravener, for always kind of hanging out with me and diving into all this craziness with us as well. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow night for the House of the Dragon Season 3, Episode 8 pregame show and live watch party. The Battle of Tumbleton is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like Episode 8, is going to be a massively big one for House of the Dragon tomorrow. So definitely come back and hang out for that. Or if that's not your cup of tea, we will be back here on Thursday diving into all things From once again. So until then, stay safe, ladies and gents. Keep those tinfoil hats on, folks, and we will see you on the next one. Cheers.
Okay, ding dongs. If you don't subscribe to Jeremy Ice and Fire,